Hop on in, sailors. The water's warm. And we are live. Hi. I'm glad you could be here. Whoever watches this. I'm going to send out some links. I don't know how to time the streams yet. Like, I'm not a pro in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a guy who does this when he has 5 minutes to himself after work. As always, I will be recording and reposting to the YouTube channel. Again, right now, the only people that I'm not like recording and reposting are Internet Today. I have too much respect for those guys, and I don't want to encroach on any of their viewers. Not that any, like, again, no one's watching me, but I don't want to be one of those guys like, oh, let's watch this, and like steal from them. Like Philly D, like, if Phil will be fine. Majority Report, I personally feel like I'm exposing where I can, not like exposing in a bad way. Just again, I know I'm nothing. I know I'm nobody, but like I'm watching the people I like that I don't feel like a lot of people know about, and I want to get them out there. You should research that. Sorry, I'm insulting someone real quick because I got brain rot. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to get hit with a bunch of bullshit in the same time that I'm trying to do this thing. Okay. Actually, let me check this real quick. Then we'll get going. We'll do the Lord's work here. No chatters. Let's get started. Yay.
We've got big Luigi Mangione updates, including his Trump problem actually helping him, at least for now. Why King Trump's war on New York congestion pricing might backfire. And why America's pivot to siding with Russia and Putin over Ukraine represents one of the biggest world-shaking foreign policy pivots in generations.
This is hard to sit through.
And the world at large moving forward. We're talking about all of that, much more on today's brand new Philip DeFranco show. You daily dive into the news, how it's being covered, and how people are reacting to it, starting with this. We've got big Luigi Mangione updates today, starting with the fact that Donald Trump may have accidentally helped America's most beloved accused murderer. What a sentence that was. But it's also not that simple, right? Because last month, Donald Trump signed an executive order telling his attorney general to pursue the death penalty, quote, for all crimes of a severity demanding its use. A move that notably both ended the pause on capital punishment from Biden and threatened the life of one Luigi Mangione. Because of the alleged
American hero,
healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is convicted on his federal murder charge, he will be eligible for the death penalty. But it also turns out he inadvertently raised the pile of cash in Mangione's piggy bank. And I say that because the top donor for his legal defense fund right now is someone who anonymously gave $11,000, who cited Trump's executive order and expressed concern that the death penalty will be politicized. So there,
I need to throw a little more money at
Luigi.
Luigi.
Right now, it is unclear whether that is going to be a good or bad thing for Mangione. Because just by looking around, you'll see that while many condemn him as a terrorist, many also see him as a hero.
And yes, if I'm watching them, like and subscribe to them. You can't not do that if I'm doing that, you know? So do it.
With us having seen no shortage of people turning him into sort of a living martyr for the cause of overthrowing the American healthcare system as we know it. And with all that, his defense fund, as of today, has accumulated nearly $500,000 in donations. So this outpouring of support has come in all sorts of forms besides money, including mountains of letters sent to him in jail, hard-eyed women fawning over him, protesters donning Luigi hats outside the courthouse, and the Free Luigi Reddit forum. Well, the spotlight
there's a free Luigi Reddit? Fuck.
Of course, as it once was when everything was still fresh. I mean, you've got several documentaries about him that are either already out or still in production. And with us living in this time where where everyone has a social media footprint, right? Out there in the world, there's just all these different aspects of his personality, history, and deed that have made him appear more likable in the eyes of many. So with how widespread the
hero.
video of the attack and just the situation in general have been, how many people have an opinion on Mangione, you have legal experts now saying that jury selection is going to be the hinge on which this trial turns. With one even telling Northeastern University News, that everybody has read something about the case or seen something on social media or on television, so it's not so much about finding a jury that is oblivious to the case, because that's impossible. It's about finding jurors who claim and legitimately claim that they haven't made up their minds yet and that they can actually listen to the facts, listen to the evidence, and apply the law in a way that's equitable. And so naturally, with that, we're going to see the prosecution doing pretty much everything they can to weed out anyone who might be sympathetic to him. But whoever is on this jury, right, this trial, assuming it does go to trial, it's going to be extremely public. And with that, there are a few ways this could go, right? I mean, obviously he gets either convicted or acquitted, but both of those outcomes require a unanimous verdict by the jury. So even if just one person differs from the rest, that's a hung jury, which results in a mistrial. But then with this, you have a lot of people talking about the other possibility, which most people don't even know about, which is jury nullification. Right? And that is when the jury agrees that someone...
If ever there was a case. Again, like... someday I would like to do a video on that cop killer, Chris... I can't remember his last name. Chris, I want to say Southern, but that doesn't sound right. Chris... I want to say Chris Kyle, but that's definitely not right. But the guy that was like shooting up cops in like San Francisco, because he was like calling out corruption in like his precinct and no one was listening. So he got desperate and like decided to start like killing cops. And it's like, yeah, that's bad. But then like you read up on his case and it's like he's just trying to report corruption. He got fired for it. Then he went on like this Rambo Punisher spree. But there were multiple instances where like he ran to like bystanders and he's just like, get out of here. Like, this isn't about you. I'm not here to hurt you. You're civilians. Like he went to war with the LAPD, the notoriously like hyper corrupt LAPD, the place of police gangs, and refused to kill civilians. I'm gonna look him up. I'm gonna get the name because it's kicking my ass. I used to know it like by heart. Chris. LAPD cop killer. Christopher Dorner. There you go. Christopher Dorner. Like, and when like the media coverage was going on about that, like they're like, he's a monster. He did some monstrous things. Like he killed several police. And I believe he targeted the police chief's daughter. Don't quote me. Oh, God damn it. I'm getting into this without wanting to get too far into this. Killed 4 people, wounded 3 others. Yeah, and when they were hunting him, like the police shot a bunch of civilians because the police didn't care. And it's like these are desperate men trying to chase like their ideas of justice that's been stolen from not just them but society. They have no way of lashing out, and then they do these awful things. And like Dorner was rightfully vilified, but also like, I mean, like, you read his case, like, you're like, wow, he like, there's noted incidents of corruption like that he found in that case that are reported on, but like nothing ever happened because it became immediately about like, well, he's just a cop killer and he needs to be killed, and they killed him. But like after that, it's like, well, what are you going to do now? Like, you guys killed him, but like, what's the deal? Like, what's the deal with all the corruption? Are we going to do anything? And the answer was just no. He killed, time was a killing manhunt. I'm going to research this later. I got Philly D up staring at me.
did commit a crime that they're accused of, but they find the person not guilty anyway. Right? Historically,
But yeah,
it's a
jury
wild card
nullification
that's
for
usually
Luigi.
pulled out when people
Amazing.
oppose a particular law, like possession of a drug, for example. It is hotly debated because, on the one hand, a jury is only supposed to evaluate the facts and determine whether a crime was committed, not decide the punishment, right? That's the judge's job. But on the other hand, the jury's decision-making process is considered sacred, right? Nobody is allowed to interfere with it, and they don't have to explain their reasoning. So you have experts saying, right, if Mangione's charm or whatever, it sways enough for the jury, not
It's
to mention...
not just charm. Like, and that's the thing. Okay, Luigi, like, they were talking about how when they were investigating, he was like, yeah, I could have used a bomb to guarantee that, like, Thompson died. But he was like, no, I don't want to hurt civilians. So he 3D prints a gun and domes Brian Thompson on his way into the conference, which, like, that's one big piece of the case I want to understand is how Luigi knew when and where, like, at the exact time that Thompson was going to be going into that building. Like, that was impressive. Like, the whole setup was impressive. And like, I got my own opinions on why he got caught and, like, how that happened. But, like, the planning that he put into this was amazing. And again, like, fuck Brian Thompson. $10 million a year to create AI to... And he didn't even create it. He just oversaw it. $10 million a year to oversee AI denying people's claims to make sure that, like, cancer grandmas died. And Luigi kills this guy without killing any other civilians, like, putting the consideration while he's in immense pain, like, he's noted to have, like, this botched back surgery, like that's he, like, here's my thoughts as to why Luigi got caught. He killed a man, and, like, he executed his escape plan, like, it all went well, and then he gets to Altoona, PA, and it's like, I think that's when it hit him. Like, he killed a guy. Like, none of us... It is traumatic to kill a person, to take a life. Like, you never want to do that. Even in the best of circumstances. Like, you're protecting your family, or you're doing something that necessitates having to kill someone. And it's like, he felt like he was put in this position, which he makes a simple yet compelling case for, and he did what he felt like he had to do. But it's like he clearly didn't want to. Nobody wants to shoot someone in the head. And I feel like that got to him. Like, he gets to this McDonald's, he's like sucking on a coffee or a hash brown or whatever he was eating. And it's just like, you just sit there and you're thinking about it and you're like, what did I do? Like, was this really the only way? And it's like, if he didn't do it, Brian Thompson would still be raking in the cash over dead grandmas. And I know he was immediately replaced. I know he's just a cog in this evil machine that is UHC. But they stopped and they thought for a moment, like, this is a bad idea. Blue Cross Blue Shield decided to remove their policy of charging for anesthesia because it was a bad fucking idea. But yeah, like, that's why I think Luigi was caught. I think killing this guy got to him. And it compromised him during the escape. Because, like, while he should have destroyed some of the evidence he had on him immediately, like, he so very easily could have gotten away. Like, Like, what's his name that killed his girlfriend? You remember the case, like, 2 or 3 years ago? They were travel bloggers. He killed his girlfriend. I'm blanking on the name because, like, America is just the household of tragedies. The travel bloggers, he killed his girlfriend after a domestic spat because the cops didn't report it properly because police aren't equipped to handle those situations. Granted, at least they didn't shoot him on sight there. I guess that's something, but still. So, yeah, he killed his girlfriend, hid the body, like, barely got found out, and I'm blanking so hard on his name. But yeah, like, and then he killed himself later after, like, visiting his family for, like, his final week alive. But, like, that was, like, a non-planned thing. And Luigi came into this thing with fake IDs, a 3D printed gun, fake IDs, like, cash, weeks of planning. Like, again, I want to know how he knew where Brian Thompson was. That was amazingly impressive. Not to mention, again, the battery thing with the scooter. Like, that's a ridiculous level of planning. That's anarchist cookbook level of planning. Like, that's crazy. Like, how he pulled all that off. And, like, I genuinely believe he could have gotten away. Like, he did that pit stop, but, like, he could have been gone in the wind. The second he got off that bus, like, gone into another set of woods, changed his clothes, come out another entrance where there's no cameras, and then just kept walking, hitchhiking, maybe assumed his old identity, especially because he's, like, Altoona, like, PA is PA, but, like, as a Maryland-born boy, like, he could have gotten, like, he could have picked up his shit and, like, gotten back to his old life. And, like, why are we ruining one man's future over 5 minutes of action? You know? Shameful. Okay, I gotta watch this. I'm getting sidetracked with my own rants.
Takes the stand, some think that's a real possibility. And as that idea is already out there in the world, it appears that he's already cultivating his image outside the courtroom. I mean, he recently spoke out for the first time since his arrest in December, with him writing from his Brooklyn jail cell, "I am overwhelmed by and grateful for everyone who has written me to share their stories and express their support. Powerfully, this support has transcended political, racial, and even class divisions as mail has flooded Metropolitan Detention Center from across the country and around the globe. While it is impossible for me to reply to most letters, please know that I read every one that I receive. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to write. I look forward to hearing more in the future." With it signed, Luigi Mangione. Now, with all that, as far as what's next, his next appearance in New York State Court, that's scheduled for tomorrow, with then his next one in federal court being set for March 19. So while Mangione has kind of slipped into the background with all the Trump news as of late, whether you love him, you hate him, you feel some sort of way in between, you're going to be seeing a lot more of him in the near future.
He's a hero.
This is
Like,
very likely going to be one of the most widely followed trials in America.
Not glorifying violence, but he did something that, like, that prompted a better society. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Next up today, we need to talk about Donald Trump starting an all-out, balls-to-the-wall battle royale with New York over congestion pricing. Because while it may not be the sexiest,
he's waging a war on Americans. Fuck!
And at the most, it is an incredibly important test case for the Trump administration and America as a whole. And so for some background here, in June of 2023, the Biden administration approved a pilot program that would allow New York City to implement the nation's first congestion toll on motorists. And after a year of delays, including a last-minute indefinite postponement due to backlash from lawmakers, the policy finally took effect this January. And specifically here, the toll would require most vehicles to pay $9 to enter Lower and Midtown Manhattan during peak hours, with the idea there being to reduce traffic and pollution on some of the most crowded streets in the world, all while raising $15 billion to reinvest into the city's crumbling mass transit system. Right, an important thing with that is that evidence from other cities around the world that have enacted these policies shows that while congestion pricing is often initially unpopular, it wins more public support over time as traffic and vehicle emissions fall and alternative transit grows. Right, and early data from New York indicated that gridlock had already lessened while foot traffic, a metric for business activity, had increased. But of course, with that, the policy still had many opponents who argued that it puts an undue burden on working class motorists and will ultimately hurt businesses in the toll zone. And we've seen those arguments echoed by the president himself, who has a residence at Trump Tower, which is in the congestion zone. And so it wasn't at all surprising that the Trump administration moved yesterday to shut down the entire program just months after it began. The Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy sending a letter to New York Governor Kathy Hochul saying that Trump had directed him to review the pilot program, writing that the president expressed his concerns about the extent of the tolling and, quote, "the significant burdens on the New York City residents, businesses, and area commuters, including those from New Jersey and Connecticut who regularly use the highway network." With Duffy then going on to say that he shares those concerns and arguing that he also thinks it's unfair that the revenues from the toll are invested in mass transit rather than highways. And with all that, claiming that the scope of the program oversteps what was allowed by Congress. Now, all that said, a very notable thing here is that the letter did not provide a date by which the administration
Duffy's a piece of shit.
Congestion pricing pilot. And almost immediately after the news broke, the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which oversees the tolls, filed a federal lawsuit challenging New York, with the suit alleging that Duffy and other federal officials violated multiple federal laws governing procedure, including due process rights protected under the Fifth Amendment. Right? And then arguing that the federal government approved this project after extensive review, and the new administration does not have the power to go back on that less than 3 months in. With Governor Hochul also echoing that, blasting the Trump administration.
Also sucks. I gotta check out her
thing.
thing.
I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington, and then later adding in a statement on X, "We are a nation of laws, not ruled by a king." With that, seemingly in reference to a Truth Social post that Trump made shortly before Hochul's tweet, where he wrote, "Congestion
Yeah, he's trying to be cute about it, but he thinks he's a king.
Saved, long live the king." Which, a lot to unpack there. Starting with, unfortunately for Trump, he is not actually a king, and experts widely agree that the law is not on his side here, and this move will face very high legal hurdles. With the same for example, Robert Glicksman, a professor of environmental and administrative law at George Washington University Law School, explaining, declaring "I'm the king" is not sufficient grounds for reversing. If the facts on the ground have not changed, then you have an extra high burden of justifying a reversal of position. And adding, they can't just say, sorry, we changed our mind. They have to explain why. You know, it's not like he's alone there. That has been echoed by plenty of other legal scholars who say that there is no precedent for federal officials to just reverse approval for a major transit project in New York. And that lack of precedent appears to be because the federal government likely doesn't have the legal authority to stop the pilot program. With the same folks like David Supra, a law professor at Georgetown University Law Center, arguing that the federal statute that authorized a tolling program has no provision that would give Duffy that kind of power. With him then also noting that, some statutes do indeed give federal officials the ability to cancel approved programs after providing certain periods of notice, but adding, if you look at the text of this statute, there is no authority for this cancellation. With him then going on to say that if Duffy's policy concerns are valid, he would have to take the matter to Congress. And so, we're gonna have to wait to see how this plays out. And in the meantime, New York officials have said that the congestion pricing program will remain in place until further notice. Right, and then as far as public reaction, it's been such an interesting, weird thing to watch because the different teams that you sort of see when it comes to politics and things like this online, it's not as clear cut as you usually would expect. I mean, not to paint an entire organization with a broad brush, but I saw dude bros from Barstool Sports going, oh no, Trump, stop. Like they've got guys making passionate videos about it and also having to defend their stance on Twitter, saying, I love conspiracies that I'm being paid by lobbyists to tweet about congestion pricing. No, I just hate cars. It's not political. We should get rid of a ton of cars, make the city more walkable, and replace street parking with outdoor dining and/or dumpsters to make the streets cleaner. For now, while we wait to see how this plays out, I want to leave this with two questions. One, just for the general public, what are your thoughts here? But then also two,
I think Sean Duffy should know his fucking role.
Jersey, you're just
fucking
in this
dumb
bubble.
fuck.
What are your
God damn
thoughts
it.
here? What have your experiences been, and what would you like to see? Because for anyone new here, yes, this is a news show, but also I want it to be a conversation. I love diving into those comments, see what y'all are saying back and forth, and you might even make the show next time. And then we'll get to more news in just a moment. But first, several months ago, my buddy told me that he'd started taking colostrum, and I was like, excuse me, what? But he'd been taking Armor colostrum for over a year and experienced a notable difference in his immune system response, lean muscle mass, faster recovery from workouts. I mean, he felt more resilient overall. And naturally, I was skeptical, but I tried it, and yeah, today's sponsor, Armor colostrum, it's been my newest health obsession. But the way that I think about it is that colostrum is basically nature's OG nutrient-packed superfood that's produced by all mammals in the first 48 to 72 hours after birth. Think peptides, antibodies, antioxidants, everything your body needs to thrive. And Armor is a physician-founded brand that's optimized this powerhouse for humans. One jar, one ingredient, over 1,000 benefits. And Armor delivers 400 functional nutrients in a super digestible
I've got
format that
headgear.
supports your gut, immune
Oh
system,
shit, no,
cells,
we're not
and
doing
frankly,
ads.
way
We're not
more.
doing his ads.
Visual
Fuck.
comments, offhand comments.
I disavow any ads that Phil DeFranco just mentioned. I got distracted. Disavowed. I'm not getting any money. Like, I'm like, this is me doing my thing.
And rambling falsehood-filled social media posts. Because earlier this week, we talked about how the US started talks with Russia about ending the war in Ukraine without inviting Ukraine. And this is Trump also reportedly demanded 50% of Ukraine's mineral wealth as repayment for past military aid and not in exchange for any sort of security guarantee. Within all of that, spurring European powers to start working on a massive new military aid package for Ukraine, as well as discussing the possibility of contributing peacekeepers to back any deal on Ukraine. Right, something Russia quickly said it would not accept. But in just a couple of days since then, Trump has fully flipped the script, blaming Ukraine's leaders for Russia's invasion and suggesting they may not deserve a seat at the table at all. With that, then setting the stage for what experts are saying might be one of the country's most consequential shifts in foreign relations ever. Right, so starting Tuesday, you had Trump speaking to reporters and sounding as if he had just...
If we betray the Ukrainian people, we will truly be some of history's greatest monsters. Like, truly evil.
Just found that people died during war, but somehow also not understanding how the invading forces would bear responsibility.
Russia wants to do something. They want to stop the savage barbarianism. I mean, what's going on over there? It's
what?
Soldiers are being killed by the thousands.
The Russians are raping and eating people.
Ridiculous.
Like,
And
that's
they're
a
not
thing
American
they do.
soldiers. They're Russian
Fuck.
soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers largely, although a lot of Koreans have been killed, as you know.
And from there, you had Trump bashing Zelensky and claiming that the Ukrainian president's approval rating had dropped to 4%, something that is not only grossly untrue, Zelensky has a better approval rating in his country than Donald Trump has here right now. But finally, here, you had Trump addressing the issue of Ukraine being excluded from the opening round of negotiations and seemingly outright blaming the country's leaders for the war.
But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made...
He's fucking insane. He's out of his goddamn mind. Like, you shouldn't have started it. Like, Like, they already lost Crimea. Like, what the fuck is he talking about?
A deal.
Fuck.
They could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything.
I'm sorry, anytime Donald Trump says, he says, I could have made a deal, I need to point out and remind people, Donald Trump opened up his second casino within half a mile of his existing one in Atlantic City. He went into competition with himself, and he ran himself out of business. He ruined 2 casinos. Do you know how hard... It's the money-making business. The house always wins. And he lost twice. He's a fucking idiot. Don't ever listen to him when he says he can make a deal. He didn't write The Art of the Deal. It was a ghostwritten book, too. Fuck!
Almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down. But they chose not to do it that way.
Right, and then with all of that, yesterday Trump just doubled down and went even further. With Trump
He's
posting
just-
on Truth Social,
he's
claiming
fucking
that the US
crazy.
$350 billion of
Fuck.
aid to Ukraine, $200 billion more than Europe, and alleging that Zelensky admits that half of the money sent is missing. With him then even calling Zelensky a dictator without elections and warning he better move faster. He's
Like,
not going
it's hard
have
to
a
keep track of
country.
money when you're trying to
Finally
keep your
saying,
people
"I love
fed
Ukraine,
and not,
but
like,
Zelensky
shot."
has done a
Like,
terrible
fuck.
job. His country is shattered and millions have unnecessarily died. With then, last
Why would
night,
he
Trump
love
dribbling
Ukraine?
down
He
on his
doesn't-
comment
oh,
while
that's where
speaking
some
to
of his
investors
wives
and
are from.
executives in Miami, again,
Right?
calling
No, I don't
Zelensky
know.
a dictator and suggesting the Ukrainian president wanted to prolong the war to keep the gravy train going, referring to American military aid. Trump then finally speaking to BBC on Air Force One and saying that Russia has the cards in Ukraine peace negotiations. So there we saw some countering saying, well, yeah, of course, because you stacked the deck for them. With people pointing to the numerous
It's
things
like,
that are just
okay.
not true being said by
Some horrific shit is happening stateside. Like, awful, like, apocalyptic shit is happening right now. But, like, this... like... God. Like, what's happening to us in losses domestically is big advancement for China. Big advancement. Like, we're falling on the world stage as the world leaders. Our infrastructure is crumbling while they are advancing massive high-speed rail and infrastructure projects. And globally, like, Russian advancement, like, this is a huge boon for Russia. Like, this is so big that fucking Putin will probably enjoy the benefits of this before he fucking dies of old age, because that bastard's up in his 70s too. It's like they can't fucking die fast enough. Like, god damn, like, the elderly should not enjoy their lives at the expense of the futures of the children they've had and their grandchildren and the children of the people. Like, fuck me. Let's keep going.
Trump about the war in Ukraine over the past few days. Things like, for example, his claims about how much America has spent supporting Ukraine and how it spent way more than Europe. That is just false. Because it is absolutely possible to arrive at a few different numbers depending on how you count it. But
I've got a hat, but I'm not fucking Tim Pool.
Estimate, for example, putting the total value of military, financial, and humanitarian aid actually allocated to Ukraine by the U.S. at around $119 billion. And this is the number for Europe, including both EU and non-EU countries. It's around $138 billion. And then, you know, as far as Zelensky and the so-called missing money, that's actually a bit of misinformation that's been floating around ever since he said in an interview a few weeks ago that Ukraine had only actually received about $76 billion in aid from the US and that he didn't know where the rest of it was. And that's not in reference to money getting disappeared. That's him making a point about how Ukraine doesn't actually get a lot of the money that people think they do, or with most of it actually being spent in the US, largely going to American weapons manufacturers. Then, you know, as far as Zelensky's 4% approval rating, well, you know, I made a mention of it. As far as the specific numbers we have, one recent poll, for example, showed that 57% of Ukrainians trust Zelensky, and while that figure is lower than it was at the outset of the war, it's up from 52% in December. And that, notably, is Trump's approval rating is dipping here and is now down to about 44% according to one of the latest polls. But then, next up, let's talk about the idea that Zelensky is actually a dictator without elections. Well, first of all, there, right, Zelensky won the presidency in a landslide victory in 2019, and, you know, it is true, his 5-year term was originally scheduled to end in 2024. But notably, under their country's constitution, an election cannot be held while martial law is enforced. Or with the rationale, that holding an election would be a logistical nightmare when you have Russian missiles raining down on the country. And this is you have election experts saying that any vote held during wartime would effectively disenfranchise voters living in Russian-occupied areas, those who have fled the country as refugees and soldiers in combat. But with that said, right, I will note there is some real concern about the suspension of elections in the country. And that includes from within Ukraine, where, for example, the mayor of Kyiv is among the officials who have accused Zelensky's office of abusing its powers. And this also as some of Ukraine's allies have pressured the country to move forward with elections despite the issues. But really, either way, it's not only inaccurate, but it is a pretty fucking wild criticism to levy against Zelensky when the guy on the other side of the situation is Vladimir Putin, or someone who has effectively ruled Russia for 25 years, rigging elections and amending the constitution to extend his rule. But of course, probably the...
Also has assassinated, like, a lot of people. Now, Putin was claimed to be like a bureaucrat in what do you call it? The God, why am I blanking? I'm sorry, it's been a long day. In the Russian intelligence agency, like he was a bureaucrat in the Kremlin. Why am I blanking so hard? Jeez, it's not Spetsnaz. Why can I remember Spetsnaz but not fucking Russian intelligence? Not okay. Was I thinking of Gruen yet? Maybe I was thinking of Gru. Either way, so he was in that intelligence agency, and he's grown like a large political presence since he left and since the fall of the Soviet Union, which we all need to know. Putin laments the death of the Soviet Union more than like fucking the death of John Lennon and George Harrison is like lamented across the world. Like he misses Soviet dominance of the world like no other. And his whole political career has been an attempt to like revive it, as monstrous as the original Soviet Union was. But yeah, like he was like a bureaucrat in the GRU, if I'm not mistaken. Like as far as I know, as far as it's been reported, he wasn't a hands-on killer then, but he was cold and calculating and like made all the right moves to get himself into power. And then once he was in power, people started fucking dying. Look up Alexander Litvinenko in 2006, killed with polonium poisoning. And like he said it himself, like, yeah, Putin killed me. Like, and Putin's like, oh, I don't know anything about you know, this Russian dissident that expatriated dying from polonium. That's so weird. And it's like, dude, no one else had any motive, reason to do it. And it's like, or a supply of polonium. So it's either you weren't maintaining your fucking polonium supplies right, which, you know, bad leader, or the more logical answer is you had him assassinated. Like when he tried to have, another former Russian expatriate assassinated with Novichok poisoning on his door handle in the fucking UK and almost killed his daughter too. And I want to say that was 2016. It was within the last 10 years. And it's like, the dude, all these people falling out of fucking windows in Moscow, that's a thing. Look it up. Just keep falling out of windows, like just whoopsie days, like they're getting pushed. And when he had what's his name, the head of the Russian military unit that's not an official unit, but it basically is, had his plane shot down, but it was like, oh, that's so weird that happened. And it's like, he kills people. He's a murderer. Like a straight up murderer. There's no two ways about it. Like he has killed, he will kill again. And he'll do it for simple political gain, in spite of having everything in the world that he wants. And this fucking boner in the corner is like, oh, I love him so much. He's so amazing, so great. It's like, he's a fucking murderer. God, fucking jackass.
Biggest, most shocking, fucking dumbest, most offensive claim is that Ukraine is at fault for this war. There is zero doubt that Russia started the war by invading Ukraine. There is no amount of when you're famous.
Ukraine shouldn't have dressed like that.
Close your eyes, look away. What dress were you wearing? Excuses.
Yeah.
Puts away the seriousness of the situation and what actually happened. All right, back in 2014, Putin annexed Crimea and backed militants taking over the Donbass region in eastern Ukraine. And in 2022, almost exactly 3 years ago, he launched a full-scale invasion with the aim of toppling Zelensky's pro-Western government in Kyiv. Right, the Russian military attacked from the east and north, including from neighboring Belarus, as well as from Russian-occupied Crimea. That attack started the biggest conflict in Europe since World War II. And since then, Russian firepower has leveled whole cities and killed more than 12,000 Ukrainian civilians, according to the United Nations. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers have also been killed.
Sidebar. There's a bunch of drunk guys dressed at the USA-Canada game, dressed as the Founding Fathers, and that sounds amazing. I'm definitely not fucking around with NBC or whoever the fuck has the rights for that these days.
Killed and wounded, and Russian soldiers have committed atrocities, with the ICC accusing Putin of war crimes and issuing a warrant for his arrest along with other senior Russian officials. And so with all of this, we've seen Zelensky hit back against Trump's comments, claiming that the US president is trapped in a disinformation bubble and saying, I would like to see more truth from the Trump team. We've seen this disinformation. We understand it comes from Russia. Unfortunately, President Trump, and we have great respect for him as a leader of people we also respect very much, he lives in this disinformation space, which then resulted in Vice President Vance criticizing Zelensky for so-called bad-mouthing
Fucking bitch.
warning it's an atrocious way to work with the U.S.
No wonder he fucks couches. He's a goddamn dog.
You're like, hey,
he's a
that's
whipped
not nice.
bitch
You're
dog.
The asshole. But with all of that, we
Mascara
saw the
wearing
Kremlin
cuck.
essentially echoing what Vance said. Right, a Kremlin spokesperson saying Zelensky made inadmissible remarks about other world leaders and adding, the rhetoric of Zelensky and many representatives of the Kyiv regime leaves much to be desired. The fact that Zelensky's rating is falling is an absolutely obvious trend. With the Kremlin then also saying today it absolutely agreed with Trump on Ukraine and is ready to resume dialogue with the United States on all parameters of the war. And of course, with that, they may be eager to negotiate with the United States and not others because the concessions that Trump and his team have suggested Ukraine might have to take, it's reading like a Russian wish list. Or reportedly, they would get to keep all Ukrainian territory it illegally seized by force.
Reminder, Pete Hegseth, alleged alcoholic Nazi rapist. Alleged alcoholic Nazi rapist. Paid a woman $50K after an alleged sexual assault. Has a large iron cross with 4 iron crosses in each divot on his chest, looking disturbingly similar to Edward Norton in American History X, and has been reported to drink on the job, before the job, during the job, after the job, non-fucking stop. Allegedly.
NATO membership would be off the table for Ukraine, and the U.S. can't provide any security guarantee. Additionally, sanctions against Russia might be lifted, and Trump has even suggested that Russia be readmitted to the G7, which it was expelled from for its original 2014 incursion into Ukraine. And all of this, as it appears that the only thing they'd be asking of Putin is that the Kremlin halt the fighting, right? As of filming, Trump has not highlighted any other concessions that he would insist on. And that is, Trump has also not said how Putin can actually be trusted to keep an agreement, given that he violated a 1994 pact guaranteeing Ukrainian sovereignty, as well as 2 ceasefire deals negotiated in 2014 and 2015. Right, and so all of that taken together is why we've seen this called a remarkable moment in U.S. foreign policy and a seismic shift. With, for example, the likes of the Washington Post claiming this head-spinning move away from decades of U.S. policy toward Russia may lead to the most significant.
We get nothing. There's no gain with.
The New York Times
like,
explaining Trump is in the middle.
Like, what are we? We're gonna form a trade deal with Russia? What are they gonna export to us? Vodka and bears? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, Ukraine is the breadbasket. What is it? 30% of the grain is harvested in Ukraine, like, in the world. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Why are we, like, it's absolutely fucking insane. God damn.
Of executing one of the most jaw-dropping pivots in American foreign policy in generations, a 180-degree turn that will force friends and foes to recalibrate in fundamental ways. And I want to be clear, these are not value statements. Right, well, I have my own opinions. I'm not saying whether it's going to be good or bad, just that it is significant. Right, to Trump and his allies, this pivot may be seen as a necessary change to a policy that they have long viewed as being misguided, or with them thinking that the cost of defending Europe is just too high and resources
we're not
spent countering.
I had a guy tell me the other day, like, I don't understand why we're spending $250 billion on Ukraine and not over here helping our own citizens. And it's like, I don't want Russia to gain control. Like, you people don't understand how trade works. Like, I don't want Russia to gain control of the breadbasket, rape and murder millions of people to do it, and then, like, charge us out the ass for the food we're already paying for. Like, you see this little bit of money. Oh, it's $200 billion. It's going to Ukraine's defense. They're fighting the war for us. So we don't fucking have to. Your friends and neighbors, co-workers, are not having to go overseas into a foreign land, swampy, cold, when it's not blistering hot during the summer, to kill a bunch of Russians to keep them from taking over the food supply. The Ukrainians are doing it for you, and they're protecting their homeland. And it's pennies on the dollar to what you save. Oh, and then he followed it up, some bitch. Followed up with, I understand why the Europeans just don't get it together and do it themselves. Because for 60 fucking years, we've been the biggest dog in the kennel. And we've been guarding all the other dogs with our fucking nukes and our massive military spending greater than the next 20 nations. And it's how we got embassies, it's how we got trade deals, it's how we've protected our allies and our interests. By investing more, a little more compared to our allies, to keep everyone safe, to keep, and not just the foreigners, our fucking citizenry. It is a smart investment. I swear to God. Like, these fucking people. Like, the same ones that think all the Fed layoffs are good. Like, you're trying to lose weight and you cut off your leg. It's like, oh, I lost some weight. It's like, yeah, you lost a fucking leg too. Try not paying your mortgage and then brag about the money you saved on not paying it, you dumb fucks. It's called investing. Like, no one, like, fucking peasant brain bullshit. Fuck. I'll clip that later. Fuck me.
I will say this has not been the dominant view of even Republicans, with us now even sort of seeing the GOP splitting on the approach to Ukraine, though none really speaking out strongly.
Fucking
against Trump
cowards!
specifically. But
Do
in any case,
something!
We're already seeing the potential impact of this in Europe. Or with us seeing Politico, for example, talking about a new Western crisis coalition forming to basically develop a Ukraine policy separate from the US. Right? And notably, NATO would normally be the go-to place to discuss this issue, but these countries are meeting outside of that or any other existing venue. Or with that excluding the US as well as NATO countries like Hungary and Slovakia that are generally seen as more sympathetic to Putin. And notably
Yeah,
here,
fuck
European
Hungary.
politics
Viktor Orban
and
can eat
European
my
support for
ass.
Ukraine, I mean, that could be getting a shakeup this weekend thanks to the German election. Because Germany is a leading member of NATO as well as the second biggest weapon supplier to Ukraine after the US. But there, the far-right party, one which has been backed by Elon Musk, they appear to be heading towards their strongest result ever. Right? And they are a pro-Russian party that supported ending aid to Ukraine. And of course, all of this is playing out as the actual war.
The
is
AFD
still
are
happening. But
Nazis.
for now, we'll
Like,
have to
they
wait to
are.
see what
You
continues to
can't
happen
legally
on the
call
ground
yourself a
and also
Nazi
what
in
happens
Germany.
with
The AFD
international politics
is the
next
modern
week.
Nazi party.
Then, shifting gears to other news, we need to talk about 4 words. Abolish the police immediately. Because that is what a grand jury in Coleman County, Alabama just suggested after reviewing an investigation into the Hansville Police Department. With an 18-person jury unanimously agreeing that the entire department should be immediately eliminated. And even had the district attorney quoting them as saying,
We, the grand jury, find that the Hansville Police Department is a particular and ongoing threat to public safety, that there is a rampant culture of corruption in the Hansville Police Department, which has recently operated as more of a criminal enterprise.
I'm going to pause right here. I don't know about the rest of you. I watched Law and Order a lot growing up. I would say from like 14 to like 22, maybe 24. So like 10 years. I watched a religious amount of Law and Order. Criminal Intent, SIU, SVU, that's the one, sorry. SVU, Base Law and Order, even that Law and Order jury spinoff. I used to love Law and Order. It's like, oh, there's a bad guy. And it's like, who's it going to be? And the cops are like, oh, there's a twist. And within 45 minutes, like within 20 minutes, they caught the guy. Within 25 minutes, they had a court case. And that was it. Hour of television. Great times. All the cops are good guys. All of them are moral upstanding. There's occasionally an episode with a bad one, but it's super fucking rare. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. Very rarely do they lose. And the system works as intended. Then I grew the fuck up and realized what propaganda was. And how, like, insane that show is. Like, moral compunctions aside, you gotta understand, like, the cases that they were having, they mirrored real-life cases that would happen on the regular. But, like, across the nation. Like, SVU was a particularly notorious one. Like, the level... Can you imagine the level of sex crimes that had to happen of that severity and degree in one department? Like, they would be like, they're like the Justice League of sex crimes with the scale and the number of them that they had to deal with. It was insane. And it made these people like seem larger than life. Like, and look, I love watching Mariska Hargitay and Christopher Milani, and they had Dean Winters, Bo Wang, thinking of Bolo Young, the guy that played the dude that fell in love with Mulan and was also the scientist Jurassic Park. He was in the B.D. Wong. There you go. God damn. B.D. Wong. Like, yeah, great cast. Jerry Orbach in the original, like, great stuff. But it's fucking propaganda. Like, we grew up thinking, ironically, after the LA riots, like, it's amazing, after the LA riots, after O.J. Simpson, that we, as a society, fail to understand how corrupt and how damaged the police have become. I know ex-police officers that grew up loving the force, that loved the people they trained with, and they weren't corrupt. They had they served. They protected and served. And now that they're out, like 20, in some cases 30 years later, and these are personal anecdotes, you don't have to take my word for it. Form your own opinions. But they look at this and they're like, oh yeah, like, cops are just killing people now. They're just killing black people. They've got the LAPD is filled with gangs, police gangs. Like, it's important you can never baseline trust the police anymore. No matter how nice they are, No matter how by the book they are. There was a video on Reddit the other day of like a traffic stop, and like it starts out like you think the cop's gonna be like a dick, but he builds a great rapport with the driver, and it's a black driver, and he's like they got off to the wrong start within like 10 seconds, but they turned it around immediately. Actual good cop shit. Wearing his body camera, which is how we're seeing all the video and everything. He's wearing that. And it's just great interaction. He God damn it. He has like a trainee and another cop with him. And so the black driver has a gun on him. He's licensed and everything, but he's got a good rapport with the cop. And he tells him about the gun, and he's like, okay, we're gonna get you out of the car. We're gonna put the gun back in the car. We're gonna run your ID and just call it a day. Gets out of the car. He's got the gun on his holster in his side. The main cop tells the rookie to remove the gun. She removes the gun and shoots him in the fucking leg. And like it was an accident, but it's like that's how fucked the relationship we have with police is, because that was like the best case scenario. Like she didn't kill him. She wounded and basically maimed him with his own gun. And like that's one of the best case scenarios. Like she didn't you've got cops opening fire from acorns and killing young black teens because they thought they were holding a taser. Like it's fucking insane. And it's like Mississippi, LAPD, frankly NYPD, where Law and Order is based out of. There's a lot of corruption. And when people for years say defund the police, they're talking about auditing them, investigating them, sending IA on them. And fuck police unions. They are not like normal unions. Normal unions protect laborers being oppressed by their employers. Police unions protect guilty cops from being prosecuted for fucked up and heinous shit. So, okay, we're going to finish this story. I got a few more videos I want to show, and fuck!
Than a law enforcement agency.
Now with that, understand that doesn't mean that there's just going to be lawless anarchy in this pocket of Alabama now. Right? Instead, you just have another state or local law enforcement agency taking over the responsibility of policing this.
Or you fire all of them and hire all new ones.
But also, even
and you blacklist the ones that you fire. God damn!
Gutted with now 5 officers, including the police chief, as well as
look, motherfucker! What the fuck?
Full-blown abolition. This department's been gutted with now 5.
What the fuck am I looking at? What the? Who the? I don't. Okay. Okay. Where to start? Toe-headed, thumb-headed. I'm on my second divorce. I've never kissed a girl. We got Deadshot over here. Like, I don't... What are we doing? What are we fucking doing?
Officers, including the police chief, as well as one of the officers' wives getting arrested and charged. Where the chief was charged with failure to report an ethics crime and tampering with physical evidence. And as for the rest, they include computer tampering, tampering with physical evidence, conspiracy to commit a controlled substance crime, unlawful distribution of a controlled substance, and use of an official position for personal gain. Now with all this, as you could probably tell, a lot of this scandal has to do with evidence, right? And that is because in the grand jury's words, the department failed to account for, preserve, and maintain evidence. With the DA pointing to this gaping hole in the wall saying that if you stuck a broom through it, you could jimmy the handle to get the door open. And so using this trick, numerous unauthorized individuals reportedly accessed the evidence room routinely, which of course not only destroyed the integrity of anything in there, but also it allegedly killed someone. With the grand jury finding that the department's negligence, lack of procedure, general incompetence, and disregard for human life directly caused the death of one of its dispatchers, 49-year-old Chris Willingham. He was reportedly found dead in his office last August, and the cause of death was reportedly a cocktail of drugs, including fentanyl, diazepam, and so many other things. Within the manner of this death being listed as an accident, and at the press conference, someone asked whether he was exposed to fentanyl from the evidence room. And there we saw the district attorney reply that Willingham had access to the evidence room the day that he died, and when he was found, there was evidence in his office. But it also didn't end there, because if that's how they treated their evidence, you can only imagine what they did with the people that were in their custody.
We, the grand jury, have zero confidence in the Huntsville Police Department's ability to maintain a jail or to meet basic health and safety needs of jail personnel or...
Ultimately, where we are is it's up to the city to actually abolish the cops if they want, and we'll see what happens there. But notably, you have the mayor saying in a statement, the council will carefully consider all recommendations and act swiftly and decisively to address the problems within the police department. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they end up doing. But then, finally today, let's talk about yesterday in some commentary brought to you by BeautifulBastard.com, where right now, I'm going to tell you, don't actually buy anything right now. Instead, go to BeautifulBastard.com and sign up for our meetings. Going through all of that, even the birth of the child, then you...
Oh yeah, that lady, her situation was fucked up. Like, she was doing in vitro. This is a video from yesterday. You can find it on Phil's channel. She was doing in vitro, and the IVF clinic put the wrong fertilized egg in her, and her son came out black. And like the donor she picked was like similar looking to her, so the kid would look like her. But the kid came out black and was not biologically her child, in spite of like carrying him for 9 months and then had to give him up. Like that's fucked up. And like, I hope she gets like $10 million in the IVF clinic, because that's a massive fuck up. Fuck.
Learn it isn't even your own, and it gets taken from you despite you having done all of the work and effort. Honestly, I don't even know how one would ever recover from that level of physical, emotional, and even financial damage. With others adding, and remember, she went through years of medical stuff to even be...
The financial damage, like, that's a $10 million lawsuit. Like, that's a level of violation, like, you can't put into words. Both of her body, of her trust, of her livelihood and happiness. Like, it's... Because she had to give up the kid to the actual bio parents, and it's like... It's fucked.
To have that kid just for it to be taken away in a court battle. You know, with that whole situation, with the news around it, I went through the same emotional roller coaster as many of y'all. With Lily kept writing, with the first story, I immediately thought, wrong donor, that's unfortunate, but for the child to not be hers at all is horrifying. It's horrifying because I knew she legally had no parental rights to the baby. To carry your baby to term safely, give birth, bond with your child, and have to give them up because the law says they're not yours has to be emotionally devastating.
And she's trying again.
Saying it felt like she was being penalized and punished for doing the right thing. With Wingsaber saying the mother did everything right. She saw that the baby probably wasn't genetically hers, found out that he definitely wasn't genetically hers, and still cared for him as her own son regardless.
It's like you can pay someone for a surrogacy to carry your child for you, and like that's a good thing, especially like if your spouse has a lot of biological difficulties carrying either to term for the first time, second time, or at all. Like it's a good thing, like for that to happen. With the knowledge of the person, and they're not trying to have the child that's presumably theirs. And another horrifying thing, like, they don't really know what happened to her egg, so it could be in somebody else, and that kid could be getting raised by someone completely different and not even realize that it's not their child. Like, look, I love IVF. I think IVF is amazing for families that want to conceive. And like one of like the only good things Trump is doing is he's supposed to be introducing legislation that's supposed to be allegedly making it cheaper to do IVF. Although I feel like his intentions for that are far more sinister than helpful. But yeah, this poor woman, God, that fucking sucks.
Still pregnant with a baby for 9 months, but I want to praise her anyway. She deserves to be a mother, and I hope nothing but the best for her and her family in the future. And this is, you had others like Shady Cats adding, she lost her case because commercial surrogacy organizations heavily lobbied to bring into law that women who give birth to babies that were conceived through egg and sperm donation had zero legal claim to the children. Despite the fact that the couples paying for surrogacy can refuse to take the baby for the same reason, wrong race, born disabled, and other issues, and the mother gets stuck with a baby they weren't emotionally or financially prepared for. This is why no matter genetics, there needs to be some level of legal protection for the women that gestate and birth these babies. So there you had some like Ali saying, well, but the protections for surrogates would be different than for her. The couple didn't want her to carry their baby. It was the clinic's negligence. But then in addition to that, there was a decent chunk of conversation around the Trump immigration updates, though I will say it kind of just was one thing. We're just a whole bunch of y'all disgusted by the White House putting out that video on X and Instagram of the deportation ASMR. With y'all saying, among other things, it has to be the most inhumane and downright evil thing I've seen. Ruining others' lives
it's
while making
heinous.
content now being being done by the very government.
Like, can you imagine having a watch party for death row inmates? Like, you don't do that.
The last two things I saw popping up in those comments
Jackasses.
were comments about the show. Right, so I'm saying on a different note, I'm glad to see some variety in today's show. Saying I don't even play Marvel Rivals, and I was excited to hear about it. Which there, I will say, we're trying to find the right balance because there's just so fucking much going on. Right, even when there's like
and all of
20
it's
things
bad.
happening with the White House, I think we're probably better served to focus on just one or two of them and do something slightly deeper on that, and then do quick mentions and links out to other things so that we'd include
God,
the
Phil
full
lost a
breadth
lot
of
of
stories
weight.
of the day. But even with
Like,
that
good
said,
for
all
him,
stories
like-
aren't equal, and we always try to be really flexible.
He looks
with, the
like,
creation
if you
of
watch
the
like his
show and
stuff
what
from
we're
like 2
focusing
years
on.
ago,
And finally, I
he's
was
a
glad to
completely
see
different
those of you
person
that were
now.
part of the 15%
I am
that
the
liked
reverse.
inside baseball stuff. There, saying that you liked it. But that, my friends, you beautiful bastards, is where your Thursday evening, Friday morning dive
Hey,
into the news is
Patrick.
going to end. Well, this is the last full show this
And
week.
yeah,
Remember, I got a brand new show for you every Monday, Tuesday,
I don't think
Wednesday, Thursday
Trump's
at 6.
well. No, yeah, Trump's parents weren't cousins, but at the same time, like, he's got that weird relationship with his daughter I don't want to really get into. All right, Patrick, you'll enjoy this one. We're going to do Kluwe, who apparently, like I just found out before this, was he got kicked out of the NFL for being in support of gay marriage, but he's never changed his position. He's always been based. He's always been based, and yeah, he's a great guy. All right, we're going to watch Majority Report with Emma Vigeland. Sam has been out this week for being sick, which is fucking... He was sick like a week ago, too, so fuck. This video will be re-uploaded to the YouTube, and it will... what do you call it? I will list all the videos I watch beneath that. I've got 2 more lined up after this one. I might do another one or so after that. I kind of want a game, but I don't fucking have time tonight, so let's go in with Emma.
I'm really sorry because...
Like one of the plane crashes?
I mean, it's just... Or one of the lawsuits. It's so difficult to keep track. And,
I just realized...
I know John Oliver did a
there we
really
go. Okay,
good
now you're showing up
segment
in the chat.
about focusing on Donald Trump and saying...
He's got fucked up, like,
it's so
incesty
hard with
vibes.
all
Like,
this news
dude, like,
coming
why
at
did you talk about your daughter that
Bannon
much?
has said
But the
it,
Trump
that this
kids...
is the way that you
The Trump kids
are
have been
more-
sleeping this presidency out. I don't know what the fuck is going on with them. Like, the only ones we've really seen a lot of is Don Jr. and he's like having a breakdown. I mean, I did a video earlier last week maybe where I talk about how like he used to be like he ran away from his dad, became a bartender, fell in love with like a local girl with a kid, and was like having his own life, but his dad was constantly pestering him to like come back and join him and like control the dynasty. But then he came back, and his dad just did not give a fuck, like, that he was back. And then he tried to pander to get his dad's love after his entire life of, like, avoiding going after his father's love. And so now, like, so he abandoned a life where he could have been free. And he's chased after his father's love, which he's never gotten. He never will get. And he's clearly miserable. Like, I don't know what the relationship with his kids is like. His ex-wife was like when she got divorced, she was just like, I don't know why I fucking bothered for the last like 10 years. And then like the whole thing with Kimberly Guilfoyle, like they're broken up, like she's banging some other guy. Like, yeah, he just pops up every now and then like to do like, oh, we're going to conquer Greenland and snort blow. And it's like, dude, like all of you need fucking therapy. Like Jesus fucking Christ. Elon, RFK Jr., Trump, like just talk to a fucking therapist. You have the money, you can afford private therapists. Just get out there and get some fucking therapy. Don't take out your bullshit on the fucking nation. God damn. Sorry, let's get back to the video.
most effective as a conservative is you flood the zone, and then it's difficult for shows like ours, or even, you know, bigger, more influential shows like all.
So Ivana, as far as I know, is at, I can't remember if she's at Doral or Mar-a-Lago. She is buried on one of the golf courses. I don't know about the graveyard thing. If you want to research that and link something, like, by all means, but like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's fucking bullshit.
To hook onto something, but I think that's what we're trying to do. And today we'll be speaking to Austin about his immigration cruelty, which is really important to keep our eyes on, because a lot of these folks, they are not looking to be in the press because of fears of deportation. So the cruelty toward
every migrant person I know, that there's two sects that I know. The ones that voted for him that are like, oh shit, we fucked up. Like, I'm like, yeah, like, I told you, like, why did you think you would do anything different? And they were like, one of the guys I talked to was like, well, he's just going after those illegal Venezuelans. And I'm like, dude, Jesus fuck. Because he's from El Salvador, and apparently they hate Venezuelans. I don't know what the fucking deal happened there. But, like, they're like, yeah, now they're like, yeah, he's just deporting everyone. It's like, yeah, he was going to do that. Like, he was saying he was going to do that. And then the other group of migrants I know that, like, didn't vote, like, either didn't vote for him and knew or told their friends not to vote for him, they're just like, yeah, we're going to sit the next 4 years out. Like, you ain't going to hear a peep from us. Like, we're not going to be at protests. We're not going to be doing anything. Like, we are going to keep our heads down, and, like, y'all need to sort out this shit because we're not getting deported over this. And I'm like, fair enough. No, fair enough. Like, what's that video from Thor? Maybe I'll check that out later. I don't know. Put that at the end. No. We're not skipping. God, okay. Yeah, it's fucked.
them isn't necessarily reported on in the way that I think is proportional
I know.
to
Like,
the
they weren't-
crisis that it's creating. So we'll have a great
There's
interview
too many
with
instances
him,
of
and
it.
his
Like,
Substack
he's
is
just
phenomenal
fucking
tracking
everyone.
this in just a bit. But I wanted to start with a more rousing video
This is a great video.
and segment to start the show than what we'd done earlier this week, unpacking Elon Musk.
Based as fuck.
Horrific lies about things like Social Security as he tinkers with our most sensitive information in the treasuries.
A daily reminder, Elon Musk should be in jail. Like, this is high treason, what he's done. And I was on, I know I'm doing a lot of tangents. I was on the town hall last night that Maryland Senators Jamie Raskin, Angela Alsobrooks, and Chris Van Allen held. And they gave some rousing speeches. They're fighting. They're some of the only senators that are fighting. Angela Alsobrooks kicked RFK Jr. in the teeth during the hearings for what it was worth. But then they got to the Q&A section. The Q&A section was depressing as hell. Like, a bunch of Fed workers, like, yeah, I'm laid off. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, what can I do? Please help me. There was also a woman there that was alleging that somebody has already accessed her Medicare information and solicited her for more information in regards to stuff that they should already not have had access to. We're already so exposed. Like, again, like the only way to rectify what's happened over the last month is for Elon Musk, the entire Doge team, to be in jail. And for forensic auditors and accountants to go immediately get their clearances and be allowed access to both the IRS, the SSA, Medicare, and remove every bit of software they've put in there. They're likely going to have to destroy, like, trash the entire system and rebuild it from scratch. In fact, like, after this, like, if a Democratic administration ever gets back into power, I think we'll have to, like, redo all of Social Security from an identification standpoint, like a full remediation, and transfer over, like, the historical, like, you earned this, this, and this over your entire life into a new system of Social Security. And every American is going to need, like, a new Social Security number. Like, we've been beyond compromised by a billionaire psycho. What did you say? Yeah. Okay, let's get back to the video.
So he can.
I think it's
create
just
his
you and me in
bank
here,
and make
Patrick.
himself
If you know
rich.
anyone else interested in the news,
But we're
bring them in.
seeing more and more resistance. Yesterday there
Yes.
was a rally for the federal
Calling
workers.
these
I saw
fuckers every
AOC had a
day.
great speech. There is an appetite to push back against
I'm
this.
starving.
And
I'm
the
hungry.
Democrats in
Ho, ho!
Washington, many of them are not meeting this moment.
They're not. They're fucking up.
Had on Tuesday,
Jeffries needs to resign.
a
Schumer
active
needs to
civil
resign.
disobedience and speech by
Get
this former
Pelosi, her
NFL
broken hip ass
player,
out of there
Chris,
too. God
Kluwe.
damn.
He was in the league from 2005 to 2013. He was on the Minnesota Vikings as a punter.
Great punter.
And he was cut in 2013 from the Vikings after he had been being extremely vocal about his support for marriage equality when that fight was happening.
Fuck
he was
yeah.
writing in papers,
American
publishing
hero.
letters. He was speaking about other players' homophobia in the league. And he alleges that the Vikings cut him for this reason, which I completely believe. I mean, we saw what happened with Kaepernick and the conservative bent of the league. The Vikings later settled with him in 2014, and Kluwe requested that settlement go straight to LGBTQ causes. I mean, this guy is a real ally.
I do appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
He went, and not that it matters, he's straight, but he went to this...
Real quick, you and I don't talk that often because I'm losing my fucking mind every day. I don't think of myself as a communist, but I would love a Star Trek style future. Does that make sense? Like I get labeled a communist a lot. Like, oh, you're just a commie socialist. And I'm like, I am a progressive. I want things to get progressively better. Like, all the things like, the people that my detractors that call me that, like, all the things that we enjoy in society come from progress. Every little thing, from soda to TVs, computers, there was progress involved in that. Like, it's why we're not bashing rocks together in caves and rubbing shit in the walls. Like, we've grown. And I love the growth. Like, even from when I was a kid, to go from corded phones to goddamn cell phones. Like, I love progress. I love it. And progress is about the most efficient allocation of resources to create new opportunities. Capitalism does not afford that. And the very rare criticism I have of actual communism is like the idea of equality of outcome, which those right-wing nutjobs love to throw around. Like, yeah, I don't want everyone to just be limited to just like, for example, like the metric I use a lot is $2 million is the average American lifetime earnings. I don't want people to just be limited to that. But I do believe they're guaranteed that at a minimum. And the thing is, with billionaires, them existing, they denied people that opportunity to even make that average American lifetime income. Again, Elon Musk has over 200,000 American lifetimes of wealth. That's 200,000 Americans that don't get to achieve the average living standard because this fuck can't learn to settle for less. Sorry, so I hope that clarifies a little bit. Yeah, dude, Star Trek. Like, Star Trek is the future to go with. Like, I grew up watching that, reading Spider-Man comics, Superman comics. I don't believe in punching down at people. I believe everyone deserves a chance to be lifted up. And all these fucking right-wing nutjobs think might makes right, that you need to beat down your enemies. Like, oh, it was a great thing what we did to the Indians. Like, fuck those people. Like, they should not be shocked that we're fighting back when I'm watching them punch down. It's fucking bullshit, man.
City council meeting in Huntington Beach, and we need more people like this guy running for office. He should run for office, but more folks like this should run for office and primary Democrats. Here he is, or if he would like to run as an independent, I don't know exactly what his politics are, but either way, this was an awesome thing to see. It's going viral right now. Here he is speaking at a city council meeting in Huntington Beach. And I'll tell you what he was outraged over specifically after we listened to him.
Hi, my name's Chris Kluwe, 15-year HB resident. I'm here to speak out against both the plaque and the current city council. As a community made clear at the Library Commission meeting last Tuesday, everyone is in favor of a plaque to celebrate the library, but the vast majority are against including a MAGA acrostic. Okay? Unfortunately, it's clear that this council does not listen, so instead I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks. MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children.
Fuck yes.
MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is.
That's my boy!
I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
Get him! Get him! Yeah, you got him!
Get the heck! Get out!
Fuck those cops. Those are pig cops. Fucking ham right there, motherfuckers. Amazing. That's a hero.
Can we go to the footage, just the very end of the viral video where they show him
That's
getting
a fucking
carried
hero
out?
right there.
You can, as Bradley finds that, I'll explain a little bit more. This, I think Huntington Beach board is either all Republican or overwhelmingly majority Republican.
My spouse just texted me like, "Are you watching sports?" I was like, "Yeah."
At the, here we go. This is the, well, I'll explain in just a second because he's referring to an acrostic that they were trying to install. But this, maybe the, yeah, this is perfect. They literally carried him out like he was about to assault somebody.
American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
If you try to fight for people that are oppressed, the police will beat the shit out of you. Like, from Rodney King to Luigi Mangione, like, if you stand for something that is against an oppressive system, those fucking pig fuckers, they will be there every time to smack you down. Oh, fuck them. These are pigs right here. Look at this bacon. Look at this ham. We got a full breakfast. Good. Yeah. Show them what you are, you fucking Nazis.
Civil disobedience. There's no need to push him to the ground. I've been to actions. I was at that, action at Nancy Pelosi's office.
I'm going to respond, Patrick. So yeah, 100%. There are 800 billionaires in the United States. There are 4,000 in the entire planet out of 7 billion people. And like they've brain broken so many people into thinking like, oh, I could be a billionaire someday. Or I could be one of their millionaire lapdogs like Joe Rogan. And it's like as someone who has had people very close to me work their entire lives and not retire, get left with nothing, be destitute. Even people that I don't like live close to that I know personally work so hard and end up with nothing at the end, nothing to show for it after a lifetime of service and oppression. And they feel like it's their faults. They feel like they didn't do enough. Like they didn't do the right things. And it's like, you didn't do anything wrong. You were born into this system that you had no say in being born in. Like, you may not be as disadvantaged as a kid in Gaza, but you're born in a system that doesn't care about whether you succeed or how you live, like if you live. And you're having to fight back against that. And billionaires stand at the top of this pyramid saying, like, you're not as good as me. Like Elon Musk, Elon's gone full brain broken. Ever since he called that fucking rescue diver a pedophile. Like, his fragile ego will not allow the idea that he's not the funniest, that he's not the smartest, that he's not the coolest guy in the world. And it's like, dude, like, you're trying to force a square peg in a round hole. Like, you're a square. Like, just do and be better. Learn to settle for who you are and improve from there. But he's not improving. He's just, like, lording. Again, he thinks he's a fucking king. And it's fucking ridiculous. Fuck billionaires.
Office where environmental activists sat in and AOC joined them right after she had gotten elected to Congress. And usually people just sit down, they're zip tied and walked out. But this is a very Republican area of California. I mean, this is Huntington Beach.
California has the most Republicans of any state in the union.
That makes sense.
I tell that to people that hate California and they're still just like, I hope it falls into the sea. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like you'd wipe out 10, 18 million Republicans because you don't like California, that you've never been, you don't know anyone over there. So yeah, it's a leftist hellscape. I'm like, there's a lot of shit about California. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bullshit. And Gavin Newsom is a piece of shit too. But like, I'm talking to people like in their 50s. It's like, grow the fuck up. Like, you can't talk like that. Okay? You can't wish an entire fucking state goes into the ocean. Like, the same thing with Texas. There's millions of leftists in Texas, but I still don't wish it goes into the fucking sea. If anything, they appear to have corrected, knock on wood, allegedly, their power systems after the blizzard. Allegedly. Not through any intervention because of Greg Abbott. But like, when that shit happened, I was like, oh, I hope that their fucking elected representatives like come to their defense. Meanwhile, Ted Cruz runs down to Cancun. It's like, oh, but I'm on vacation. I don't want Heidi to get yelled at by Trump again. Oh God, please don't be mad at me. Here's some waters. Get your waters. Here's a couple of paper towels. See, I'm helping. I'm Ted Cruz and I approve this message. Like, fuck. Like, I didn't wish ill on Texans. Like, one of the people I enjoy watching who hasn't done streams in forever is Brian Garr, and he was talking about it. He's like, yeah, this sucks. I'm like, that fucking sucks. Like, there are good people down there. Angry Joe is down there. And like, they don't deserve to suffer this madness. Like, whenever anyone says like, I think it's a states' rights issue, it needs to go back to the states. When they're talking about abortion and just human rights, it's like, no. Like, this is the United States of America, and every American should be guaranteed basic goddamn human rights. Like, the right to live, and the right to be free, and instead they're just like, best I could do is ban porn. And it's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, be serious. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? God damn it.
And I think this is Orange County, right? That's where Huntington Beach is, and you don't need to... I should.
I mean,
probably
you're
check
being a
these
little
things
generous to
before
Ted
I
Cruz.
speak. Like,
My spouse has a picture, has a
most of the time,
bumper
I just
sticker
always worry about being wrong.
with his face on it, and it says,
So what
this
he's
man
referring
ate
to
my
here is
son.
that Huntington Beach wanted to install a MAGA plaque at a library. And
why?
of course they're
Just
trying to
fucking
become
why? You guys
infiltrated
won.
to
Why
just
can't
go
you just
down
enjoy
to
winning, you
see what
dumb
the design
bastards?
was.
Fuck.
The
No one's
Huntington
hanging up
City
gay
Council
pride flags
plans
to like
install a
stick it to you.
commemorative
It's like,
plaque at its library
look, we're being gay over here. It's like,
Trump,
no,
they
like just,
approving a
god
slightly
damn
modified
it.
design and spending an additional
I've got MAGA
$1,000
pride. You mean you're a
for
fucking
security.
Klansman? Like, what the fuck
And
is
this
that?
Is what the plaque was
I'm losing
supposed
my
to look
mind,
like.
man.
Here.
Like, fuck me.
Magical, alluring, galvanizing, adventurous Huntington Beach Central Library.
Fuck
It's,
you. Fuck
acronym
you,
for
fuckers.
MAGA on a
Ugh.
library. And that's what Kluwe was...
Magical? What's magical about beating up brown people?
So-
What the fuck?
Why I wanted to play this is just this is an example of folks getting involved in their community to combat these right-wing politics. And
I live in a very
as I
right-wing
headlined,
area of the country.
Quinnipiac had
Like a
poll
very
that came
right-wing
out
place.
that showed mass disapproval.
It's
for
kind of
Elon
insane,
Musk's
and I know I'm going to be
actions
going
and,
at like
people
the
fearing
organizations
that our
here
checks and balances
soon
aren't
enough.
working, as we see.
But
Trump's
fuck me if this
popularity
shit
and
isn't
polling
driving
starting
me
to take a
fucking
dip,
nuts.
and folks starting to wake up a little bit about what this administration is really trying to do. This was astounding. Quinnipiac found in February 2025 that Democrats approve of congressional Democrats by 9 points. It's a 49% figure in terms of the disapproval. Maybe we go to that second picture there. Yeah. So you can see there, among registered Democrats, 49% disapprove of the way that Democrats in Congress are handling their job.
Yeah, they're fucking
to
up.
40%, and 11% don't know or didn't respond.
They're fucking up.
That's a plurality. And
Hakeem Jeffries needs to step down. Chuck Schumer needs to step down. Nancy Pelosi needs to step down. Like, Jeffries' rapid response force of Jerry Connolly, 76-year-old with cancer, that he's dying, and another 81-year-old woman, and Jamie Raskin, the one good one out of them. It's like, what are you, like, this is your rapid response force? This is what you're doing? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, lose the geriatrics. Keep Raskin. Put AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Khazar. Like, get some real fighters in there. And like, how do you guys not know how to fight? The Republicans have been doing it to you for 4 years. Tommy Tuberville held up generals' promotions for 11 months. How can you guys not do the fucking same? You're giving them too much credit, Patrick. I don't think they're looking for food. Like they're like, when you're that bloodthirsty, blood will suffice. Blood is the only thing that will suffice. God damn it. Fuck these people, man. Fuck my ass running.
Compare that to March 2023, just 2 years ago. You can see the incredible difference. 75% of Democrats approved of the way that Democrats in Congress are handling their job, to 21%, 4%, don't know, didn't answer. Aaron from Queens, a great follow, says that's a 63-point shift in less than 2 years among the Democratic base. If you're watching this show and you used to watch MSNBC and you don't like the fact that many of their most mainstream hosts decided to bend the knee to Donald Trump after telling you for 8+ years that the most important thing is to resist his movement,
feckless.
You're right to be angry.
Yeah.
And you should be supporting primary challengers with guys like Chris Kluwe, who will speak the truth about what this movement actually is. Because in 2016, we were saying things like, okay, maybe Reince Priebus will be the moderating force in the Trump administration. Maybe Rex Tillerson. Maybe H.R. McMaster. Some of these more establishment Republicans, perhaps they'll be the folks that rein this lunatic in. What we're hoping for right now,
that's a good one, Patrick,
is that Steve Bannon, the white nationalist, convinces Donald Trump to get the Afrikaner Nazi billionaire out of the treasury, looting it, and firing air traffic controllers to put his little guys in from SpaceX, among other insane actions, just cutting off essential care for people, firing tens of thousands of civil servants for no reason and trying and claiming it's for cause when there's no evidence of it. We're hoping that Steve Bannon, the white nationalist, is the moderating force to get the Afrikaner billionaire out, basically on nationalistic, anti-immigrant grounds. That's how far right we are at right now and how extreme this
like Trump should be impeached and gone by now. After all the things he's said and done, he should be impeached and gone. That's how far we've lost the farm on this one. I was talking to a friend of mine about this today, and his point that he made was he felt that the Democrats kind of devalued impeachment. I get what he's saying with how many impeachments there have been, but also like Trump needed to be impeached, like he needs to be impeached now. Like the shit with Ukraine last time, impeachable. God, what was the other thing he did? Like, he needed to be impeached last go around. He absolutely needs to be impeached this go around. And they're not even filing fucking papers. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene tried to impeach Biden within like the first month. Like, you're just there for Hunter. Your son's a criminal. Like, I'm Marjorie Taylor Greene. I believe in Nazi Jewish space lasers. Oh goodness. Like, they're not even doing that. Instead, Hakeem Jeffries is like, presidents come and go, but only God is on the throne. It's like, motherfucker, they're firing all the federal staff. Kash Patel is a goddamn psychopath. He's going to use Pegasus spyware on every American. We're about to become a fucking police state, and you're talking about, like, only God is on the throne. Like, we need to be ready for when the insane, like, we're a month in. The insane shit has yet to happen. And they're fucking wasting time. And Chuck Schumer's doing dog-ass TikToks being like, oh, look at me. I'm going to fight Donald Trump with the power of memes. It's like, fuck you. Step down, you old bastard. Like, fuck.
Administration is. And the way the Democrats are responding, like, yeah, business as usual, you're not going crazy. It's outraging Democrats, traditional Democratic voters, liberals.
Yes!
And so now is the time to say how the party has been doing business is wildly insufficient. And I want more guys like Kluwe, and it doesn't need to be him.
We need to Tea Party them with progressives.
Who have the will and the want to fight to go and primary these Democrats. Go to Justice Democrats, join your DSA chapter, and start getting involved now because the midterms are less than 2 years away.
Yeah, anger is good.
God
but,
willing we get there.
have to
Fuck.
kick the bums out. And Aaron has another tweet here. The left's battleground for the next 2 years is Dem primaries. We need strong fundraisers, communicators to run against these useless centers. Gomez in California, Scott, Georgia 13, Davis, Illinois 7, Thanadar, Michigan 13, Goldman, yeah, please.
Yes, my rep.
Yeah, mine too.
Let's primary him.
Menendez,
Yeah,
in New
Goldman
Jersey, and
fucking
Fletcher
sucks.
In Texas, and we've talked.
We shouldn't be
sort of
fighting
Tea
each
Party
other on the
metaphor
left.
has
It's
been
like, do your fucking job!
Occasionally
Fuck, idiot!
Poured cold water on because of it's not really symmetrical in terms of the fundraising capacity.
Right.
But this sort of situation where it's not just listeners of this show that are upset with the way Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are responding to this. It is everybody, and
I'm not even worried about the last year.
But
Like,
again, needs to be focused into.
I'm worried about in the
action,
next
and
6
primaries,
months. Like,
are the best,
and with no opposition, like, yeah, we're
Yep.
God.
And that John Oliver segment
It's gonna be a
referenced, he
fucked
ended
holiday
his
season. I know
segment on
that.
Trump
Fuck me.
Calling for primarying any Democrat that doesn't adequately fight Trump. So that's not it's not just our show saying it. It's not just lefties or people on the internet. This is
there's a good
very
meme,
mainstream opinion among Democratic voters. And if
I'll post it to
congressional
Blue Sky. Give me a
Democrats
second.
wanna continue down this road, okay. It's your funeral electorally.
2 days ago, Ta-Nehisi Coates said, how can you get people to believe you'll stand up for democracy if you can't stand up to genocide?
Exactly right.
Ta-Nehisi
Can you
had a
imagine if the
great
Democrats forced
rebound
the vote
on his
Jeffries?
Israeli position.
I mean, they shouldn't be supporting him.
No, but it would just be a funny conclusion to that little saga. But I wonder if other members of the party are starting to get a little antsy and wondering if leadership is going to lead them to electoral failure.
Well, that's the thing is, like, we need to primary them because I think a lot of them are spent. Hakeem Jeffries won't be improved upon, and I think
He needs to be primaried.
Yeah, he's done. He's cooked. Fuck him. That stupid fucking piece of shit.
To learn a lesson, we need to.
He's been a problem. Okay.
Yes.
Just like
I've kept an eye on that son of a bitch before all this. Like, he was an issue for minimum wage increases. He was issues for a bunch of shit. On top of being Pelosi's little fuck toy. Hold on. What the hell does that mean? Let's finish this video.
2018 brought us with AOC and Squad.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
Okay. Let me see. Let me get in here.
YouGov, The Economist.
Is this worth watching? This is an old one. Let's go. We're going to check out Adam Mockler with a short video about Elon's Nazi stuff. Adam is a correspondent with Midas Touch, which recently overtook Joe Rogan in the podcast sphere, which I was shocked to hear about. I didn't realize they were doing that good. Midas Touch was a network formed after the 2020 election. Grew rapidly in response. The name is both a play on the King Midas hand touch turns to gold, but also the last name of one of the creators. I follow Ron Filipkowski, the editor-in-chief on Blue Sky. He's got some pretty base takes. Still, like, he's a lib. Like, his firstborn son is named Ronald Reagan. And it's like, Ron. But at the same time, like, his takes have been very based lately. And Adam, he's like 22. Very intelligent young man. Like, he's kind of got like bro-y vibes, but like he's spot on. He's to the point. Big, strong, like and subscribe. We'll see what he has. Again, all videos I'm watching, I'll reference them in the YouTube when I upload them. I'm gonna play this while I post that meme to Blue Sky.
All right, this is disturbing, and I want to.
Oh, Will Stansel's been popping off a lot too lately.
Have a very serious conversation about Nazis infiltrating our government. And I don't mean the entire Trump administration. I mean a relatively small group of actual true believing Nazis who have somehow found our way into our government and now wield a disproportionate amount of power. Now, this all starts with this Will Stancil thread that says, the craziest thing that is completely true, that is actually true, is that a relatively small group of very literal Nazis has completely seized control of the U.S. government. And Stancil clarifies later in this thread, he's not talking about the normal Republicans or even the far-right Republicans. We're not even talking about the far-right Republicans. We are talking about very literal Nazis who are true believers in the ideology. Now, yes, you can draw parallels between the way the current administration uses propaganda. They wield power. They dismantle institutions, but that doesn't mean they're all true believers of the Nazi ideology. They're not. Not all of them are, but there's a very small group that we
I just saw the
should
chat.
be focusing
I'm slow on
So
checking the
drop a
chat.
like,
Sorry
make
about
sure you
that.
subscribe, and let's dig in. They have accomplished this by building a tight-knit community in the dark corners of the internet, then establishing a lot of influence over the inner circle of MAGA, especially Musk.
Yeah,
and
Will's right
Vance.
about that.
And we see this time and time again. The younger MAGA power players, people like Musk, people like Vance, the Teals of the world, they are all a part of these weird 4chan, Reddit-esque Nazi communities.
Groypers.
Musk empowered them massively by taking over Twitter and then removing almost all restrictions on them, while promoting many of their most notable figures. Musk seems extremely taken with them personally and spends a lot of time trying to impress them. And Will Stancil is talking about this online group of Nazis that Musk always is dog whistling to, whether he's boosting tweets from them, whether he's doing an actual Sig Heil, whether he's spreading conspiracy theories that are anti-Semitic. Elon Musk is always signaling to these Nazis. Now, their politics are dramatically different than normal Republicans. They don't care about traditional conservative values. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about democracy or even America. The only thing they really care about is inflicting pain on groups they hate through a variety of pretenses, and that is absolutely true. And let me just go back a second. When we're talking about Elon Musk empowering these hateful people, I want to remind you guys that, number one, a member of Musk's Doge team was caught.
Oh, fun facts about Twitter. So, Twitter has approximately, allegedly, because Musk has not been forthright about the numbers lately, around 330 million accounts, allegedly. Now, it's also been speculated and studied that almost 80% of those accounts are bots of some sort of another, either crypto, regular bot scams, porn bots, all that. 80%. Blue Sky is going to break 32 million users this weekend. Might even be tomorrow. They're going to break 32 million. Which, if you cut down 80% of the 330, that allegedly puts them around half of Twitter's actual users base. Allegedly. Blue Sky is ramping up. Like, it's wild how much it's growing. Like, this is actually like the Twitter alternative. And like, when I first signed up to it, I knew this right here. I knew this was going to be the thing. It's not as involved as Twitter, as like some of the features that Twitter got in the later years and even has now as I'd want it to be. But it's the Twitter experience without the Nazis. Like, there's no porn bots. You can find porn on here if you're looking for it. There are bots, and I don't know any numbers for those. So yeah, the 32 million number can be less, but I haven't seen nearly as many as you would. Like, you log into Twitter, if it's not Elon the president, Elon or the president, like, you're looking at bot accounts, basically, in my experience. And I mean, celebrities are coming over here. We already got like the big libs like Mark Hamill, Stephen King, I'm blanking on names. Gray Delisle's here now. That's great. Fucking love her. Ooh, I got a notification. Who notified me? Hey, it's Patrick. I respect your use of your real name. I don't recommend doing it anymore with how, like, again, like, the Nazis are going to be running everything. Like, Kash Patel is fucking nuts. Go, like, I keep telling people, do what I did. Like, come up with a fancy nom de plume. Let me see here. All right, let's thank you for the follow, Patrick. All right, let's get back to Adam.
with racist posts on his Twitter page saying that he thinks more people should hate Indian people. He doesn't believe in race mixing. He thinks that eugenics should be appropriate for immigrants. And then Elon Musk rehired this kid after he resigned. On top of that, Elon Musk was just caught following multiple Nazi accounts on X, along with JD Vance. They're always following these oddly Nazi accounts. Look at this one. Elon Musk follows this account, as you can see at the bottom, followed by Elon Musk. And if we go over, they're posting weird Aryan propaganda. It says white nations for white folk, this person reposted. You go to the next one, it's just a swastika. It's just a swastika. I mean, these people are openly racist. And why does Elon Musk follow these accounts? Why the hell does Elon Musk follow these accounts that post this stuff?
I was telling my friend, like, Elon is a Nazi. Like, he is a Nazi now. But, like, I'll say this, like, he became a Nazi ironically. Sort of how, like, Mark Wahlberg, like, in the movie The Other Guys, like, learned how to dance to make fun of the gay kid down the street. Like, that's how Elon Musk became a Nazi. Like, he ironically became a Nazi. Like, he is absolutely a Nazi now. And, like, he can joke, like, oh, you think I'm a Nazi because I'm doing Sieg Heils? And it's like, yeah, no, yeah. Like, that's part of it. Like, but it's all the other stuff. Like, that is a Nazi thing you did because you're a Nazi. But, like, it's everything else that you've done to lead up to this that made you a fucking Nazi. Like, so, yeah. So he ironically became a Nazi, and he is a Nazi now.
Back to the main thread. The politics of this small group of Nazis is dramatically different than normal Republicans.
They're wild. They're insane.
Traditional conservative values.
Like, I've hung out on 4chan.
Or even
like, I've seen some shit.
They care about inflicting pain on groups they hate, whether it's, I don't know, the Canadians, right now, Ukrainians, whether it's trans Americans, black Americans, people of every single subset. That especially includes all non-white people, trans people, and for an influential subset, Jews. And remember, the anti-Semitism has been spiking over the past year or two, and a lot of it is due to Elon Musk opening the floodgates on Twitter and bringing back Nick Fuentes, who is now constantly spewing anti-Semitic stuff. He always has been. He brought back
Nick Fuentes, well-known alleged catboy enjoyer, well-known incel. Attacked that woman that rang his doorbell with a thing of mace. Just the whiniest little sexless worm. Like, fucking hell. Like, I never thought, like, look, I'm settled down. I'm very happy with my relationship. Like, but when I wasn't, like, when I was alone, like, and, like, a guy like me would, like, I didn't, but, like, would be expected to be, like, incel-y, I definitely had nice guyisms, which I'm not proud of. But, like, to, like, lean into, like, thinking, like, not knowing how to talk to women or engage with women or have, like, relationships with women is somehow, like, a cool subculture is so fucking bizarre to me. Like, dude, just get Tinder. Like, swipe right on every woman you can meet. Like, just go out. Like, just start shooting shots. Like, do better. Like, just try. Like, you don't need to, like, you don't need to become a right-wing psycho because you're not getting laid. Like, I don't fucking know what to tell you. Like, do better. Fuck.
Kanye West, so Kanye West could openly talk about being a Nazi. This says, most of them openly hate America and its government. They talk very freely about wanting to transform the country into a South African apartheid state or even killing all non-white Americans outright. They openly praise Hitler and Nazi Germany and believe the villains won World War II. They spend a lot of time telling each other to get ready for mass violence.
And it's okay to get shot down. Like, I got shot down like a dozen more, like,
this is a very
10 times more than I ever got, like,
group
successfully. Just do
Nazis.
it. You fucking do
Very
it.
important
Women
to
like it when
differentiate.
they see that you can try.
Sometimes I
Like,
see
they
people
like
take
it
too far
being
and
told
say
that
every
you
single
find them
Republican
attractive,
voter
that
is
you
a
want to
Nazi.
be with them.
That is not
that
true.
you want to talk to
Nor are the
them.
majority
Like,
of
that you
Republican
find them
voters
fascinating.
actual Nazis.
Like, get out of your own head. Like,
Most normal
Jesus.
Republicans are just, they don't know what they believe. And a lot of people vote Republican because they're just confused and overwhelmed. You can't say that all these people are Nazis, but with that being said, there are a lot of parallels between the current administration. I mean, of course, when Trump is talking about his imperial ambitions and MAGA commentators cheer that on, that is very dictatorial, and you can draw comparisons. But to say that every single Republican voter is a Nazi is not true. With all of that being said, There are literal Nazis infiltrating our government, as this thread is saying.
Pete
They openly
Hegseth is an
praise Hitler
alleged
in Nazi
alcoholic
Germany,
Nazi
and they believe
rapist.
The villains won in World War II. They want to destroy anything that has a hint of liberalism, usually by killing the people involved. They believe any institution, including non-white people, religious minorities, or LGBT people, is hopelessly corrupted. Again, they believe any institution, including non-white people or minorities of any sort, is hopelessly corrupted. And then they use that, they try to undermine those institutions. They said, Will Stanchel says, I wish I was exaggerating, but you see these sentiments expressed constantly in these circles, and Musk and Vance follow and even interact with many of their leading figures. As I said, Elon Musk oddly follows all of these odd Nazi accounts. His own coders are using this wild Nazi-esque rhetoric.
I've met coders and mathematicians that are not good with talking with women, that lean super heavy into libertarian right-wing fanaticism. It's like a default because they're not capable of like they've been ostracized by society and they're not capable of forming like productive groups. So they decide to all get together, and it's like, it's so much easier to hate something than to learn to find the joy in the things around you. And it's like, it makes you less to hate something for no real reason. Like, I don't hate the Republicans just because I think it's fun. I hate them because, like, they're destroying our country and, like, actively fucking other Americans. These people are like, I hate gay people for existing because they won't suck my dick. And it's like, dude, like, therapy. Like, goddamn, like, listen, I know it's expensive and I know it's the fault of capitalist structures, but, like, your answer is therapy. And if you can't get it, grow your friend groups, talk to other people, like I got attention issues, and if I'm not doing like 30 things at one time, I'm pestering someone or I'm doing something wrong, like, and that's why I do like 30 or 40 things at one time and talk to a bunch of different people, because I don't want to be pestering any specific fucking person. I gotta show Bulldozer that, Peace Dozer. Oh god, is that, I think he's got Killdozer on there. That guy was a fucking asshole. He made a fistful of good points, but he was definitely a fucking asshole.
Sabotage of U.S. institutions. It makes no sense, even to conservatives, but these people are ecstatic because they want to burn the country. Musk's Nazi salute fits perfectly if you realize this is who he wants to impress. This is who he is dog whistling to. Not even dog whistling, it's a foghorn at this point. They are badly outnumbered by real patriotic Americans, even on the right. See, as the person says writing this, even on the right, there are people out there who are like, hey, we're not actual Nazis and we don't like that stuff. They are badly outnumbered by real patriotic Americans, even on the right, but most real patriotic Americans don't even realize this group exists, much less is steering policy. They need to be pulled into the daylight before they wreck the country. And it's a scary thought.
Stephen Miller.
There's a shadowy group of actual, literal evil Nazis currently steering our government. And I'm not talking about, not even Elon Musk in particular, because he's out in the open. And he hasn't said anything that is explicitly calling for like mass genocide, but there are people behind the scenes
He might as well
pulling
at
the
this point.
strings
Like, why
and
not,
steering the
Elon? Just say
policy
what you're doing.
that are, in every sense of the word, a Nazi. And that's something that we need to relentlessly push back against, because I'm not going to lie, the past few weeks have been grim for liberalism across the globe, have been grim for domestic politics. The last few days, it's been grim for Ukraine, but there's an emerging group of leaders across the globe, whether it's liberal world leaders from Germany or Canada, or whether it's just, it's football players, like the video I made earlier where the football player was pushing back. People are ready to push for liberalism once more, and I think that it's time. So if you appreciated this video, drop a like, subscribe, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.
Okay, we're gonna watch this one at some point. Not just yet. I kind of want to take a politics break. I can only mainline this shit so much. We're gonna watch. No, that's too long. Anything on here? Oh, God, I need to watch that at some point. They're trying to cryptofy everything, and they'll destroy everything. Let's watch what's his name? Kevin O'Leary with Kyle Kulinski. Kevin O'Leary's a fucking jackass. He's a ladder pulling piece of shit. Fuck him. Okay, let's go.
You're fucking, bro. I'm the big boss man capitalist, bro. I'm all about it.
Dude, the Republicans keep banning porn. Like they've banned porn in like how many states? Like 20 states? You can't watch Pornhub in Virginia, not without a fucking VPN. Hold on. Yeah, there are 16 states with porn restrictions. And it's like you guys, like Mike Johnson, like your son shouldn't be watching your porn intake. Just watch porn. Just be normal. Like, gotta beat these people with a fucking sock.
Individual success and stuff, bro. Like, this is his whole thing. I remember the first time I ever heard of this guy. Yeah, I guess he's from Shark Tank, but the first time I heard of him was when, remember that Oxfam report came out? Sorry, there's a dog toy in the background. I don't know if you hear it. And the Oxfam report basically found that, like, what was it?
Thank you for the 6 viewers. I'm assuming Patrick brought them along.
People or something like that.
I appreciate all of you for joining us.
Than the bottom 50% of the world combined. And I may be misstating it. The numbers may be even more out of whack. By the way, that has graduated to now like fewer than 10 people have more wealth than half the world combined or whatever it is.
No, it's the top 3 wealthiest Americans, Elon, Bezos, and Zuck, have more wealth combined than the bottom 50% of Americans. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, what the fuck?
And he was interviewed and asked about that, and he was like, that's great. It gives people something to strive towards. It was like a caricature of like the super greedy, uber wealthy dude who thinks like all of his success is because he's so special and he's so brilliant.
Vegan O'Leary is so bad about that. He's like, the fucking worst.
Was like,
I earned every dollar I have. It's like, you didn't know.
Like, if a liberal or a leftist made a straw man of somebody on the right and how greedy and piggy and disgusting they are, that's what his answer was, right? And in reality, as we know, the bottom 80% of Americans hold just 7% of the wealth. This idiot would look at that and he'd be like, bro, you're just lazy, bro. The bottom 80% of Americans are just lazy and they don't know how to work hard and stuff, bro. They're not smart enough. They don't work hard enough. We have that RAND study where the top 1% in this country stole $50 trillion from the bottom 90% since 1974. Right? So, but he looks at this stuff, he's like, I love extreme income and wealth inequality because that just proves the people at the top.
He literally says
are the
that.
smartest,
It's
are the
fucking
brightest,
insane.
Are the hardest working. And
It's
literally
disgusting.
it takes like, all you have to do is look at one of these fucking idiots to know that that's totally not true. Right? Like Elon Musk is a moron. Mark Andreessen is a moron. Like all these people who are mega wealthy.
Mark Andreessen is a straight up monster. He's
usually
like an
the
evil
people who get to the
conehead.
top are the most shameless and the most exploitative in our current system, right? So anyway, here he is talking about what Doge is doing on CNN. And I just, as I said, I'm running out of ways to describe this. I would categorize this as a mental illness at this point, what he's about to say here. That's how I would categorize this. Ready?
I don't think it's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing, keep hacking while you have a 24-month mandate before the midterms.
There's no mandate.
Cut more cutting. Believe me, it's going to work out just great. Everybody should be happy about it.
Kevin O'Reilly's a disgusting animal.
Cut everything. Because
Fuck
if you
you.
don't see what they're doing and they can't show you that they're adding value.
It's all been congressionally approved. If you wanted to see what they were doing, just look at the goddamn reports. Like, what are you talking about, you fucking psycho?
You whack.
I'm going to play that one more time for you so you fully understand the point he's making. Okay?
He's insane.
It's happening fast enough. They're not cutting enough. Keep slashing.
Fuck
keep
you,
hacking
you
while
piece
have
of
a
shit.
24-month mandate before the midterms.
There's no mandate.
Cut. More cutting. Believe me, it's going to work out just great. Everybody should be
people with
happy
their
about
nuclear
this.
codes, cut them too.
Cut everything.
Cut everything. Cut while you have the mandate. Even cut the people with the nuclear codes. Yeah, cut them too.
Yeah, why not? Let's just fucking do it. It'll be like
How
a nice
do you
treat.
respond to a man like this?
You smack
By the
him.
way, the point from the CNN
You
movie
whip his head.
is based on a real story of Trump and Elon cutting off, or I should say, firing 300 people who oversee our nuclear weapons. They fired
Whoopsie,
300
Butterfingers.
people who oversee our nuclear weapons. Then, that was so extreme, even for them, they panicked and realized they made a mistake. And they were like, oh my God, we gotta bring these people back. And for a while, they were unable to contact them. They didn't know how to fucking contact them. Then eventually, they said they brought back all of them except 28 of them. So, bunch of anti-government fundamentalist extremists took this approach, like, cut everything, bro, cut. And then they realized, oh my God, what have we done? That's like the one thing you can.
Oh, he had the
never
nuke
cut.
codes.
The people who keep our nuclear
Oh,
weapons
can't
safe,
fire him.
even they had to reverse on it. And this is brought up directly to this jackass's face. He's like, yeah, cut them too. When you are this
Fucking
disconnected
stupid fucks.
from real world consequences, why is he on the panel? Like, what the fuck does he have to add?
He was on Shark Tank, and I mean, come on, Trump was on The Apprentice. Come on, it's just a little celebrity.
A bunch of MAGA people because, you know, hey, you gotta show both sides, bro.
Fuck
You gotta
both
show
sides.
Both sides, bro. Do you
Centrist
really?
fucks.
Let's have a debate. Should we nuke Greenland or not? This guy says yes, and this guy says no. What say you, audience? Like, this is not. This is stupid. This is kabuki theater. Like, let's stop pretending like there are reasonable debates where there are not reasonable debates. Homie just said, yeah, cut
Segments
the
like
people
these
who
are why I
basically
can't watch
oversee our
CNN
nuclear weapons.
anymore.
Cut them. Get rid of them. These people are going to run this country directly into the ground. We will be a smoldering ash heap by the time they're done with this country. And remember, he's coming out and saying this after a slew of factual reports about how disastrous all of these cuts have been. By the way, literally all of the cuts Elon's done and Doge has done and Trump has done, every one, completely illegal, completely unconstitutional, no authority whatsoever to do it. Every court, including right-wing courts, including MAGA courts, are backing up that point. Just cut. So this is a guy.
Another thing about the cuts, there is no rhyme or reason to them. They've targeted probationary employees, which is also bad and dumb, but they're just doing corporate-styled mass layoffs across the entire federal government. 2.2 million Americans, almost 1% of Americans, work for the federal government, and they are just destroying their jobs, their livelihoods, not giving a fucking damn. There's no real review. They're lying about performance firings, all sorts of nonsense. It's fucking insane. Like, I shit you not. There's been no... Like, if they got in there and started doing actual employee reviews, like from day one, we would just now start seeing an initial batch of actual terminations and layoffs that would actually be based upon employee reviews. Like you see it in that movie Office Space, when you're talking to the Bobs. They didn't do that. They just put an AI in there and said, hey, find all the probationary employees and send them this letter and tell them to get fucked and die. And it's like, that's monstrous. You can't do that. Not to mention what Kyle just said, it is completely illegal. But they still fucking did it. And it's just... Let's keep going.
Who sits there, he's seen the stories. Hey, they did a 70% cut to the NIH funding. No more child cancer research. Yeah, cut.
Yeah, fuck those
They
kids.
got rid of the
How dare they
CFPB,
get
which
cancer?
is the anti-scam police, which returned $20 billion to Americans who were defrauded.
What do you
by big
mean we
financial
can't charge
institutions.
consumers 40% interest rates on credit cards? That's
I like it
mean.
when big financial
Don't hurt our
institutions
big
do fraud.
capitalist
Cut that, get rid
feelings.
of that.
Ooh.
Hey, they dismantled the entire Department of Education. Fuck education. Leave it to the states completely. Who cares if disabled kids get left behind? Cut
It's
it.
just
Who gives
gonna
a shit?
fucking wreck red state kids. They're
This is who these
fucked.
people are. This is who, and then you give them the nightmare stories, right?
Okay, Patrick, that was okay. I like the way you said that. Have they tried not having cancer? Like, Sounds like a skill issue. Like
a disabled veteran who worked for the
Fuck
VA
me,
in the
man.
Bronx, has a family he has to feed 3 or 4 kids, loses his
Yeah,
job.
Kevin O'Leary's a
right?
fucking
They thought
monster.
it was some
Fuck
sort of
him.
mistake. They said, no,
That
fuck you,
ladder
it's not a
pulling
mistake.
son of a
this guy,
bitch.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck the disabled veteran with the family who was, in the probationary period. Who cares? Fire him. Oh, the woman who was pregnant overseas, part of some USAID thing.
Luke Graziani,
Back helicopter.
20-year vet, an employee of the federal
Obviously,
government,
disastrous
ran a
result at the
special.
end of that.
Okay,
Yeah, who
let me pause this.
cares? Cut it.
Ran a specialized division that like he maintained. Was going. I can't remember if it was a promotion or he was a transfer that was listening to probation. Got fucking fired. Father of 4, vet, and he's like, I thought my vet status would stop me from getting fired, and it's like. No, they just laid him off anyway too because fuck him, fuck the vets apparently. Like the brazenness, the shamelessness of these actions, beyond the pale, disgusting, animalistic. Meanwhile, Trump's golfing all day and Elon's jerking off into another SpaceX contract. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, how can people bootlick for billionaires? They want to bleed us dry. They want to turn us into wage slaves. They want you to die. 42% of Americans get cancer, and they want you to die from it. Not just die from it. They want you to die poor, miserable, watch your family knowing that they're going to suffer without you. Like, it's...
Cut it. Why are these people out? Look, this is a mental illness. It is.
Yes.
Just call it what it is. At this point, conservatism is a mental illness.
There's not just conservatism. Money. People should not have access to American lifetimes worth of wealth. In my personal estimation, like 10 million should be the hard cap. I'm sorry. That's 5 American lifetimes of wealth. How is that not enough? And if we can't do that, let's do 100 million. That's how much Walter White got in Breaking Bad for destroying Arizona, was 50 American lifetimes of wealth. And even in the show, they're like, yeah, we have more money than we'd ever spent in 100 lifetimes. And I'm like, yeah. And meanwhile, Elon Musk has $400 billion. That's 200,000 American lifetimes of wealth. That's not acceptable. And it's clearly broken his brain. He reached a point where he's like, there's no consequences. Like, I can get as many women pregnant as I want. I can break any law I want. I can fly my jet. I can threaten anyone. I own a massive communication service. I launch rockets. Like, I can do whatever I want and no one can stop me. And it's like, you are not a god. In spite of your cosplaying as king. Like, it is the exact same illness that lords of old had. But it's scaled up for modern society. And, like, these people need to be taken down before they solidify this dystopic, AI-controlled Nazi future of theirs.
Being MAGA at this late date is a mental illness. Stop allowing these people on. Stop
I don't know why they're doing that.
Conversations where we're not.
It's why I don't watch CNN.
Yourself to the point.
CNN lost me the second I saw Caitlin Collins doing a town hall with Donald Trump, and the people around them were like, "Oh, you're so great, Mr. Trump. We love you." And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you platforming him? Well, our ratings were low. We just really want to engage with our viewers. And it's like, I was one of your viewers until this. Unsubscribe, no watch. Like, aside from like when Kyle or Hasan watch them, I do not watch CNN. Fuck them.
Where your reaction to the illegal firing of the people who control our nuclear weapons and keep it safe. If your reaction to that is, yeah, fire them, you have nothing of value to add to the conversation. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, he's not even giving a reason. He's just like, if we slash it, it'll be amazing. And it's like, no, it won't.
I agree. Whatever Elon says, I agree. I don't care how absurd it is. They're all 150-year-olds taking Social Security money, even though that's a total disproven lie. Like this.
The robot from Grandma's Boy. I am a robot.
Our media environment is just
sit on my face.
It's so cooked. It's so cooked. Because you got
Time
the
to
right-wing outlets
consume
that are
fuel.
just die-hard, far-right, super MAGA all day, every day. That's the right-wing media outlets. Then you have the liberal outlets who are like, both sides. Yes, cut the nuclear
Yeah, fuck
safety
the both
people. Why not?
sidesism.
Let's do
Like,
that.
that's
I
why I'm
don't
not a
think you should
fucking
do that.
liberal.
No, I
Fuck
do
the
think
liberals.
You should do that. So who's there to just tell the truth? Who's there to just lay out the actual information? Who's there to make correct value judgments about the actions that are occurring? Who's there? By the way, as Elon was cutting cancer research, he got another $400 million government subsidy to create armored Teslas.
Yeah.
Now, is he out there? Well,
the Cybertruck is
definitely get
17
rid of all
times
Elon
more
subsidies.
likely to
No,
explode than
he
a
didn't say that.
Ford Pinto.
But he's okay with getting rid of the people
The most
who oversee
notorious
nuclear weapons.
exploding car in human history. Fuck.
By the way, head of the FDA gone. The people who are specifically working on bird flu, as there's a bird flu
We're gonna have
outbreak,
so much fucking
they were
lead in the
fired
water,
too.
like
So
it's gonna
food
be
safety people,
1987,
people who are,
baby. Woo!
keeping check on the pandemic in the bird community right now. Bird community, it's funny to say it that way. They're gone. They're gone. Cut. Who cares about the results, bro? What everybody is finding out the hard way now is the way our system works is incredibly complex, intricate, detailed, large and expansive.
And it's been built over 150 years. Like, this is the system that has been in place since Honest Abe was kicking around. And it's been built upon. It's been grown. Like, regulations are written in blood, the blood of Americans. And you're acting like that didn't happen. You're denying it existed. You're not like, Elon's not looking at these things and saying, like, well, I think we could do this particular thing better. He's not even doing that. Like, he's just destroying the guardrails on a fucking roller coaster. Ugh.
Nuanced, and you cannot just go in there and start swinging a sledgehammer, lest you destroy the country, infuriate countless people, and lead to a colossal backlash.
Like me.
Right? And that's what they're about to learn the hard way, man.
Like, I don't want to be doing this. Like, if I'm going to be streaming, I'd rather be doing games right now. I want Helldivers 2, Space Marine 2, like all sorts of. I want to play Rogue Trader and shit. Instead, I'm doing this shit.
God help you.
And I mean, like, it's a, don't get me wrong, it's a bit of catharsis. Like,
do me a
I'm
favor and like and subscribe.
educating. Like, I think that's Kyle and Crystal, but they look completely different here. Like, I enjoy talking about and educating the fistful of people that come in here to, like, see how mad I am as someone. I was not political 10 years ago. And then I saw that the guy that did Trump University, Trump, was running. And I was like, oh no, that's terrible. Like, he doesn't know what he's doing. And then people were like, including my own grandmother, were like, well, Danny, I just think he'll be really good for the country. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like Grandma, no, he's insane. Like, he doesn't know anything about what he's doing. Like, this is all a game to him. So he can get, like, a talk show and start making some money off that. And then we gave him, like, the nuclear codes. And he was like, I'm a god. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Just give us healthcare or fuck off. They tried to get rid of the ACA last time. That's gone this time around. There's no John McCain left to save it. If they don't do it this year, they'll do it next year. They will kill the ACA. And then we're just fucked. Like, they don't... God! All right, what's Marvel Rivals layoffs? I am curious about that. We're not going to watch this Thor video. We're going to watch one more Kyle. And then I'm going to put some lighter fare on, and then we're going to call it a night.
Prepare to absolutely lose your mind as I give you the details in this next story here. This is in Raw Story.
Thank you for
Iowa
7
Medicaid
viewers. I
hits at
appreciate
least 2
you
grieving
popping
families
in.
with $4 million bills. Oh boy. Oh boy. I mean, this is an...
Reminder coming up shortly. Medicare covering telehealth is about to go away under the Trump administration. So look forward to that. That's the first salvo in their process to cut $880 million out of the program to pay for their tax credits and other items. Like, let's dive
international
in.
embarrassment. That's what this is. This is shameful and deranged that this is how our country works. Here we go. Collection agents for the state of Iowa have sent letters seeking millions of dollars from the estates of at least 2 people with disabilities who died after spending most of their lives in a state
Fuck you motherfuckers.
The amounts represent what Medicaid spent covering the residents' care when they lived at the Glenwood Resource Center, a state-run facility that closed last summer. The bill is extraordinary examples of a practice called Medicaid estate recovery. Federal law requires states to try to collect money after some types of Medicaid recipients die. The point is to encourage people to use their own resources before relying on the public program. But some states, including Iowa, are particularly aggressive about the collections, national reports show.
How did Kamala
who the fuck
lose
has
there
$4
as hard
million
as she
laying
did?
around to pay off a bill because you...
Oh, yeah,
happen
that's
to
right. She
have
didn't
a
say
family
shit
member
about healthcare.
Who
Fuck!
was extremely disabled or extremely sick and needed care basically around the clock. Nobody has that. By the way, if you're making a list of things that the government should take care of, isn't this towards the top? Isn't this towards the top of like, this is what I want my tax money going towards. I don't want it to go towards giving Netanyahu another 10 or 20 billion dollars so he can bomb more babies. I want my tax money going towards stuff like this to look after our fellow Americans. All right, more.
Yeah,
Joy
let
Higgins
Israel
was stunned
fund their
by a
own
letter she
Iron
received a
Dome.
few weeks
It's
after
not like
her
there's any
41-year-old
fucking
daughter
Gazas left to
died
shoot
last
at him.
May. The letter was written on Iowa Department of Health and Human Services stationery. At the top, in bold letters, it said, "Re Kristen Higgins. Dear Joy Higgins," the letter read, "our sincere condolences to you as we understand the above person is deceased." The letter explained that any money Kristen Higgins left behind would have to be remitted to the state.
Our sincere condolences. Give me money! Oh, did your mommy die? Oh, that sucks, buddy. Give me money! Like, what the fuck? What is this? What did they do to us?
To help repay Medicaid's,
What the
over
fuck?
$4.2 million bill. Her family had 30 days to respond. Joy Higgins, who lives in Council Bluffs,
I would
wondered
shit in a
why
bag and
state
mail
debt
it to them.
collectors would
Like,
send
get
a massive
fucked.
bill to the family of someone like her daughter who had little income because of a severe developmental disability stemming from a premature birth. What are they gaining? That's my question, except for kicking someone in the face right after they lost a loved one, Higgins said. Kristen Higgins' only income was a Social Security disability benefit of $1,105 a month. By the way, they want to cut that too. They want to cut that too. This is what Elon and Trump are working on. Remember, they said tens of millions of dollars in fraud in Social Security. Total fuck.
They're just going to cut Social Security, introduce work requirements, all sorts of insane shit to Medicare and Medicaid. We are going to lose so much in benefits, and I don't have words for it. Like, so a recent study came out, I think it was either Politico, I think it might have been Politico, where the actual effective unemployment rate, it's not just people without jobs. So you also have to count in part-time workers and people that make less than like $25K a year. Because I'm sorry, you're not living off of that. You are effectively unemployed. The value of the work you're giving, it's not getting returned to you in enough for any sort of livable amount. Nowhere near, I guarantee, what you're giving, whatever business you're working for. So you are effectively unemployed in spite of having a job. It's 25% of Americans. It's depression levels of unemployment. But it's hidden behind the fact that they have jobs. They're part-time, no benefits, and they cannot live off what they have. We have an effective 25% unemployment rate in this country. 1 out of 4 Americans are not making enough to live. And now we're going to take a sledgehammer to the elderly, the needy, the people that can't fend for themselves, especially in an era of changing technology. Like, I shudder to think how advanced things will be when I, God willing, make it to retirement age. And we're about to kneecap the generations prior that we take care of. Like, I have family members that live on Social Security that I help take care of. And it's like, you're going to attack that? Like, it boggles the mind. And again, I've said it a million times. Elon Musk alone has 200,000 American lifetimes worth of wealth. Like, fuck. All right, let's keep going.
Nonsense. It's literally 0.82 or 0.84% of Social Security is fraudulent. They're pretending like it's like half of the program. They want to cut shit like this. Most of that went directly to the state institution where she lived for more than 30 years. Just $50 was set aside monthly as an allowance.
Patrick, is that an
for
Australia
expenses according
thing?
To a state ledger obtained by her family. They knew exactly how much.
Oh,
she
yeah.
had,
Sorry, I read the bottom half of the comic first. I'm losing my head. No, that's pretty great. Like, I was going to say, like, we don't get that up here. We're fucked up here. Okay.
In allowed expense. Nothing was left for this.
Part of, like, using Medicare, if I'm not mistaken, you have to have like no assets. Sorry, again, man, I read the bottom half first. I'm getting tired. I'm screaming a lot, and it's taking a lot out of me. But yeah, we don't get that up here. I don't know if you live here still or if you used to live here. I can't remember. I don't pry that much into people's shit. But up here, it's like you have to give up all your assets. You have to have nothing to your name to qualify for Medicare to take care of you, so you can just die quietly. And it's like again, I did the Tim Robinson line already. Like, what is this world? What did they do to us? Like, we've been robbed. You've been robbed your entire life. You don't realize it until you're either living on the streets or you're stuffed away in a cupboard to just rot and die from old age, if you're lucky. Like, what the fuck?
Date to take. Higgins said receiving the letter was traumatic, even though the family didn't have to pay the Medicaid bill. The Higgins...
It's like, don't send the letter then!
Similar
Just don't fucking send it!
Families, including that of Eric Tomlin, who died in 2020 at age 29 after spending most of his life at the Glenwood Resource Center. Shortly after his death, the Tomlin family received a Medicaid bill of more than $4.2 million.
Why?
Susan Tomlin was shocked by the letter. I was like, what? Oh my God, she recalled. She filled out a form explaining...
Don't send a bill if you don't intend to collect. Fuck me.
The last I heard of it. Supporters of a state recovery efforts say the rules encourage people to pay for their...
Listen, Patrick, let me tell you something, man. After watching Mr. Nobody, after watching that, and like the more I learn about Australia, like, yeah, it gets a bad rap for all the animals and the fact that there's more kangaroos than people. But like, that shit aside, like, I would love to retire to Australia. I would love to move to Australia. Like, I don't care if most of it's uninhabitable. Like, I would love to live there. Like, in spite of the PM being a fucking dumbass, like, I would love to move there. But let me say this, like, I am the opposite of those people that are like, America, if you don't love it, leave it. I'm like, I love it so much, that's why I'm still here. I want my family to, like, prosper here. Like, we can make America better. America deserves to be better. We have the capacity for so much. And it's getting exploited and wasted, and it breaks my heart. And it's like, I'm stuck up here fighting to make it better instead of just going somewhere else where it sounds so much better, like Australia. And I know Australia has its swath of problems. It has its own homeless issues and stuff. And obviously that shit with that prison island a few, like 60 miles off the coast. I can't remember where. And the relationship with New Zealand. But like all this socialized help, like, fuck yeah. Yeah, man, I've gone to my primary care, my dentist, and my eye doctor in the last 2 months, and I've spent $2,000. Like, and I'm fortunate enough that I have ways and means of affording that, but it's like, and I'm not getting any weird procedures. I'm getting like basic dental, basic vision, basic like medical remediations done. And it's costing me out the ass to like just be baseline healthy. My country wants me to die in spite of like wanting the best for it. It drives me fucking nuts, man.
Own care before applying for Medicaid, which is mainly intended to help those with little money. Critics of estate recovery programs say they often target families with little to give. Wealthier families tend to have lawyers who can structure estates in ways to avoid Medicaid repayment demands, the critics note.
Oh, that's a whole other thing. Like, that's something that I need to work out because, like, me and my spouse, like, our children, like, if something happens to one or both of us, like, if something happens to them, like, I can figure it out. I've got some things worked on. But if something happens to me, like, there's got to be, like, I've got backups and shit ready, but, like, even then, it's, like, there's so many legal things you need to do up here that pretty much all Americans need to do, but they're not told to prioritize it. They're not told how to do it. And when they are told how to do it, they're told it costs an insane amount of money, which is true, and it's fucking nuts. Ugh.
Like Higgins, Tomlin thought her Medicaid recovery bill came from the state officials because it was printed on letterhead from the Iowa Department of Health and Human Services. So that's fraud. The collections agency is basically committing fraud. The people who
That's another thing. Collections agencies riddled with fraud. They receive a collection bill that they buy for like pennies, and then they just go after the person being like, pay us, 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 pay us. Something might bad happen if you don't fucking pay us. And it's like collection agencies in their current form need to be destroyed, but of course not. Fuck it. Oh god, I kind of want to watch this Elon Musk CHAINSAW disaster. Let's keep going.
The letters identified themselves as being from the estate recovery program, but the people who produce such letters
Patrick, I'm going to get a snack.
Hired to collect Medicaid debts.
Watch the
According to
rest of
Alex
this.
Murphy, a
I'll be
spokesman
right
for the
back.
state
I'm
agency.
tired.
Their contract
Fuck me.
requires them to use state stationery. Murphy said in an email to KKF Health News that such letters are sent after every death of an Iowa Medicaid recipient who is at least 55 years old or who lived in a long-term care facility. He said the letters request information from family members regarding the deceased person's assets and expenses, and the letters note the repayments are expected only from the person's estate. Iowa Medicaid collections are, so anyway, it goes on here, but, you know, when my dad passed away, we sort of had a similar thing going on where for his debt, they were trying to shake us down for it, and, you know, we knew that was illegal, that we were under no legal obligation to pay off, like, our father's debts, but a lot of people might not know, right? And maybe there's somebody who gets a bill in the mail for $4,000 or $7,000 or whatever it may be, $312, and it's like they feel, oh, shit, I got to pay this. And they're like shaking down the poorest people at a time when they're grieving, and they're committing fraud in pretending, oh, this is the state government that's asking for. Like, what are we doing here? Now, by the way, this is, okay, Medicaid. We're talking about Medicaid. Healthcare for low-income people and disabled people. This is Medicaid. Well, remember, guys, this is what the Republicans are planning. 20 million people could lose Medicaid coverage under House bill. The original bill had $880 billion in cuts. Like, what? This is their ideology. This is their philosophy. That's what you need to understand. These are anti-government fundamentalists when it comes to every decent program that helps regular people. The only time they're okay with government is when they're taking the money for themselves. All the robber barons, all the billionaires, all the oligarchs, all the corporations. Give me subsidies, socialism for me, but not for thee. And think about how low you have to be to say, whatever meager social safety net we have, like Medicaid, let's destroy that shit. So anyway, this is what a failed country looks like, by the way. This is what a failed country. Medical bills are the #1 cause of bankruptcy in the United States. Number one. Other developed countries don't have medical bankruptcy. It's not a thing. It's not a thing to have a medical bankruptcy in any other developed country. It's just not. And so, by the way, if you're trying to make America great, wouldn't like thing number one be, hey, let's catch up to the rest of the world and have universal health care? Instead of having 45,000 to 60,000 deaths every year because we don't have basic health care, instead of having tens of millions of people who don't have health insurance, wouldn't like one of the first things be, we got to give health care to everybody. We should just expand Medicare to cover everybody. But no, they're not actually trying to make America great. Duh. They're trying to serve the robber barons. Serve the robber barons, and Trump wants his name in the history book, so he's going full 1800-style imperialist, and he's threatening to annex Canada and steal Greenland and take Panama and do war with Mexico and... Depraved, man. Depraved.
Nazi
We gotta bring
shit.
this country back to sanity, bro. What should our politicians be focusing on? Our politicians should be focusing on improving our lives. How would you improve the lives of the American people?
Invading Panama.
Like universal health care. It would be something like we're going to give you paid vacation time by law. It would be...
Like, if I wanted to have another kid, I'll be lucky if I get, like, a couple months off. And it's like... Was it Germany? You get, like, minimum 6 months up to, like, 3 years before having to come back to your job if you have a child. And it's like, why don't we have that? We are the richest, most powerful nation in the world, and we just don't have, like, the basic time to spend with our families. Like, I miss my kids. Like, I would like to have another, and It's just not in the books now.
You know, hey, you increasing unionization rates by passing the PRO Act, raising wages, but they're not working on any of that shit. In fact, the Republicans are literally doing the opposite. MAGA is literally doing the opposite. Let's take healthcare away from more people. Let's cut Medicaid. Let's cut Medicare. Let's cut Social Security. Let's eliminate the anti-scam police, the CFPB. Let's destroy the Department of Education. So expect a lot more of this shit. Expect a lot more of this. Grieving families being hit with medical bills for $4 million. Because it's going to happen. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out.
Okay, God, there's some good shit to watch. I kind of don't know. Do I want to watch... Hold on. Patrick, if you're still there, I'll give you a choice. Elon Chainsaw, vaccines and antidepressants, or the Asmongold and Destiny drama. What are you feeling? I know, Trump is the best. But make a decision. Chainsaw, vaccines, or Asmongold and Destiny. Elon Chainsaw, okay. All right, let's go down this rabbit hole.
So today, Elon Musk gave a disastrous interview.
Why is he so fucking stupid? Like, what is with him and props? Like, the kitchen sink with Twitter, throwing rocks at the Cybertruck, this thing, like, he's not... Oh my God, look at this dude. Look at this dude's chin. That's the crimson chin right there. What the fuck is this dude's deal too? Like, this looks like a child's idea of a Russian asset from the 1980s.
Where he really exposed himself. And I want to show you guys what we're talking about. This is him.
I said it before. A lot of friends of mine were like, oh, Trump and Elon are going to have a falling out. Hit the president. Isn't he that Argentinian? Oh, shit. You might be... Fuck, you might be right. I think you're right.
And I feel like he's on something. That's my first thing that I saw. So I want you guys to see it as well. So check this out.
Of course he's on something.
That's Elon Musk is giving a chainsaw by Milei, right?
Oh, that's Javier Milei. Yeah, he's the guy that just crypto scammed all of his people. Such a fucking idiot. Yeah, he's always using... Okay, sorry. Elon's always using props. Like, he loves playing dress up. He loves... And I know that's rich coming from a guy wearing a mask. I know. Yeah. Like, he loves playing with props. He loves doing dress up. Like... It's like, dude, like, you're so disingenuous. Like, there's nothing real about this guy. It's like, he's the opposite of the phrase, be yourself. Oh, yeah, Lazy Town. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Javier Milei. Fuck that guy. God, that chin doesn't quit. His chin keeps populating in, like... If you watch him when he turns a certain angle, like how the TV will populate certain pixels, like it'll like round up to like however many pixels the chin needs. It's constantly rounding up to more pixels to cover how much chin he has.
So chainsaw for bureaucracy is what he says. And that's the first thing I was like, are you on?
He's cutting people's jobs and livelihoods. He's destroying American citizens. And it's okay because they're in the government. That's like saying it's okay to beat a gay person to death because they're gay. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, your actions have consequences and these people don't give a fuck. Dumb bastards. Oh, there's so many good videos that, I gotta call it soon because I'm fucking tired and I got work in the morning. But there's some fucking good videos populating now. And I'm going to end up watching them on my way into work tomorrow. Fuck me. Like, that's listening. I'm not going to be watching them. I'm listening.
Also, if you saw that, he was given the chainsaw by Milei, right?
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. I completely fucking forgot about the flamethrower. Yeah, he thinks he's Carrot Top. It's like, dude, you're not that fucking funny.
On top of that,
you're not even... God damn it.
The various questions that he was asked. But basically, whenever he's asked anything serious, he'll just make a joke and kind of play it off. And you'll also notice in this interview the The host guy, whoever that is, he basically he's got this list of things. They have a narrative that they want to go through. It's all a script, and basically tries to.
Like, there's another guy with father issues because Errol doesn't like him and thinks of him as a disappointment, and Elon hates his father, and it's like, but dude, like, you became a worse version of your father. Like, how can you hate your father and become a much worse version of him? Like, 13 kids, like, your oldest ones hate you and don't talk to you and don't want to have a relationship with you. And then the youngest ones are just like, also fucking props. Like, his children are fucking props. Like, god damn it. Grimes, go into Grimes' Twitter and see she posted, Elon, I've been trying to reach you. Our child's health is in danger. It needs to be addressed immediately. Please contact me ASAP or hire someone that can do it. And it's like, holy fuck. Like, he's not just, like, this is the most divorced, deadbeat man in the entire fucking world. Like, holy fucking shit.
Kind of cover up for him on all these controversial things. And as you guys know, Musk Musk or Trump, maybe Musk. Maybe
I'll say this, like, I think he likes X the most.
Check out
like,
some
he's
more,
like the Lisan Agaib to him. Like, he's like, I named this one X, my favorite letter, and he is my favorite.
I'm just living the meme.
But if he gets shot, like, I've got backups. It's like, come on, dude.
What's happening, you know?
You're like, I think you're bigger.
Why is he wearing sunglasses inside? Why is he fucking wearing sunglasses inside? Elon, god damn it. Like, Jack Dorsey sold Twitter and fucked off to the desert to do drugs and just be chill. He's still a billionaire, but, you know, like, he's not destroying the world. He's not getting high and destroying the world. And then we have this, you're right, unbelievable phallus. God damn.
Doge started out as a meme. Think about it. And now it's real.
A lot of
it's crazy.
It's
right?
like, yeah, it's Doge is now real, and it's like it shouldn't be
because this is supposed to be the smartest guy in the world, the richest guy in the world, the most awesome guy. This is the guy that is in charge of like your tax data, your Social Security. They're getting into Medicaid, all this stuff. Like, what? And this is how he's dealing with all the pressure. Like I said, I think he's on something, and he just makes jokes about everything. It's frankly ridiculous. And then again, when he gets to ask anything tough, he'll make a joke again and deflect. So, for example, this is going to be a question
kind
about
of,
Social Security. The question is, hey,
yeah,
are you
you're
stealing
right.
Social Security? What are you doing with that? Watch how he answers this stuff. Check this out.
A lot of them are saying right now that the reason that you want to get into Social Security, that you want to get into all of these different, into Treasury and things like that, is that you're looking for personal information and you're trying to make more money.
Dude, he's high as fuck. He's high as fuck right now. Fuck me.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody as rich as you that cared less about money in my life. Every time I hear a story about you, you're sleeping on a couch of some other.
That's not a, god damn it. Like, that's a mental health thing. Like, you're sleeping on the couch, and it's like,
other guy in a city that you could buy the entire thing.
Yeah,
I don't think you care about money, do you?
No, actually, I mean, listen, like, if I steal some Social Security, I can finally buy nice things.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
It's not funny,
the host
man.
Guy is basically telling the script of, these people's script of like, okay, here's the game plan, Elon. We're going to just say that you're really rich, you don't care about money,
and
we're
like,
gonna ask you about
that's the thing. Like, he's not like the rest of us. Like, the minute I started making like a little bit of money, like, I started like building a home. Like, not literally, but like eventually me and my spouse were able to buy a house, and eventually we were able to settle down and have children that we could like personally love and be there for. Like, we built a family, a life. Elon, like living is just like this bizarre thing to him. Like he's like it's like parody to him. It's like, it's not real to him. It's so he mocks it. But he still desperately wants, like, there's a hole in his soul and this is just my opinion. Like, that he has never been able to fill. Like, I mean, if you look at his marriage to Justine, like, it looks like he tried to, like, work it out, but eventually he's just like, I want to marry Tallulah. She gets me and is younger. And then they got divorced, and then he starts knocking up Grimes and every other woman he can get his hands on, like, just this insatiable appetite. I don't know. I'm getting tired. Let's keep going.
Remember, we're gonna say that you're really rich, and then Elon Musk is like, just plays along. It's like, oh yeah, if I can steal Social Security, then I can buy nice things. Like that's how they handle these serious questions. Just think about that. If you had allegations against you,
Patrick, is that last bit real, or are you just mocking Musk? I mean, if you are, then good for you. That's a new one.
Wear gold chains. Do you understand how insane this whole thing is? To me, it's obvious what's going on here, but unfortunately, sadly, I guess people buy into this narrative that he's the richest dude in the world and he doesn't care about money. That's the kind of narrative that they're trying to put out there, and this is what I'm saying. And you can see how Elon's is like, oh, okay, my script writers wrote that for me, and so I'm just going to play along, and I'm going to make jokes. And it gets worse. They actually ask him about Russia, of like, hey, are you getting bought off by Putin, that kind of stuff. Watch how he responds to this one.
So we're going to go bankrupt.
Yes,
we are. Couple minutes left here. Russia. There's a huge push from the
People like sometimes like
to end this war.
Say like, I'm a bought asset of Putin. Yeah. I'm like, he can't.
I mean, hey, more power to you, man.
I think you're worth more than Russia.
Think about it.
Don't take this the wrong way. That's a little too modest for me, but at the same time, like, respect. Like, you're living your life. I just want to get back to writing science fiction books and not dealing with this shit. I just want to spending time with my kids. Like, I'm tired. I just want to pop him. Like, just a good, solid, like, friendly pop.
So this is their game plan. This is their game plan. Whenever you get a serious question, we're going to have a script set up, and we're going to tell a joke, right? Hey, Elon, are you getting,
I did actually know that about, I do actually know that about honey farmers.
Can't afford me.
About
that's his answer. It's pretty insane. And you can see, and that's why I want to show you guys this stuff, because they'll cut this out of when you say watch.
My spouse is one of their bosses.
Reading articles about this thing, they'll just talk about what Elon said. They won't necessarily show you. That's why I'm showing you guys all. Show you.
It's good work. It's honest work.
Leading Elon, you can see this. It's
valuable
it's in
work.
Cahoots, right? It's obvious, but you have to watch the stuff for yourself.
Every now and then I personally go to I'm not going to Walmart anytime soon, but I used to go to Walmart.
It's just a bunch of
You
nonsense.
can get the combs of honey.
They ask him about like, what do you think about the war? And he just starts putting out
eat on those, and it's nice.
Propaganda kind of stuff, pro-Russia propaganda stuff. So basically,
not a big fan of the wax.
Oh, why would why would they want to keep fighting? People just keep dying, etc. That's the kind of point of view they take, which would be the point of view of the Russians.
It's because they want to take back their homeland from invaders. Like, God damn it.
And obviously, people
God
in
damn it,
Ukraine
they're
are
so
differently,
fucking
like, hey,
stupid.
you're invading our home. We're going to fight and protect our home, of course, right? And I'll just say this about Musk and Trump. We do know that Musk does get money from Russia. He got some money from Russian people when he bought Twitter.
Fuck the Waltons, those pieces of shit.
Where the money was coming from. There was foreign money going into Twitter on the Twitter deal. He didn't use all his own money. He had to borrow money from Wall Street. He got money from Twitter. Even
the
Sean
Saudis.
Combs' daddy, was it Piff Daddy or whatever the stupid guy's name is? He was part of the people in buying that. Other disclosures, he tries to hide his financial stuff. So that's why they tried to change his classification on are you a federal employee, special employee, or whatever. There's a lot of shady
they're
stuff
trying to
on
hide
this.
the fact
That's
that
why I wanna
Doge
show
is
you guys these
Elon's
things.
brainchild, and it's like, it just is.
Again, you're showing up with sunglasses, gold chains, and you're making jokes about stealing security, and you're making jokes about, Russia can't afford me kind of stuff, opposed to, it's like, these are deflections and jokes. You see it. Here's another one. It's very clear that Elon knows that people don't like him, right? You guys know this. Like I said, the most hated person in the world. Watch how he talks about this. And again, I think he's on something to deal with all his stress.
Largely vilified by the media.
Real quick, we're gonna finish this one. We're gonna do the Asmongold and Destiny drama, which, how long is this? Yeah, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna watch the crypto conference, and I'm calling it a night. I really want to watch Kathy Hochul Unchained. but that's just going to be for me.
Media, like you're, what?
No. Really?
I mean, you turn on some of these.
Yeah,
channels,
they take life insurance policies out on their employees. So if any of them die, they get paid for it because they're losing the labor. And it's like, take the L. Like, you're hiring them for like minimum wage. Like, give the family the life insurance so they can pay for a funeral. Like, you should not be taking out policies on your employees. Like, why are you incentivizing the death of your employees? What reverse George Bailey shit is this?
He just jokes. And this is real, guys. If you're Elon, right, and you're getting involved in politics in multiple countries, you're cheating people because he cheats his workers, like really like on a personal level, firing people in person, cheating people, or not paying people when you need to be. This is how he deals with it, right? For me, his responses seems pretty obvious that he's on something. That's my opinion. I like.
And the thing is, he's like always on something.
Sunglasses, don't want to show your eyes. You want gold chains, and you just make jokes the whole time. And these,
it's like, how much can one man scale the level of what he's dealing with by themselves? And it's like, again, it's what he created. It's what he wanted to do, is deal with a situation where he's in charge of like every American now and owns us all now. And it's like, you're not equipped to do that. You don't... Elon, compared to like Bezos and Zuck, doesn't have the multimillionaire infrastructure around him to better lord over the people beneath him. Like, Zuck and Bezos, through their corporations, Meta and Amazon respectively, have a series of millionaires underneath them to better maintain their empires. So when Elon, being the jackass he is, that doesn't really trust people with power or control of anything outside of like what he's doing, except for even Linda Yaccarino, who is in charge of Twitter right now, but not really. Like, he doesn't let them actually like have any autonomy. He's always controlling it directly. I imagine it goes the same for the Doge guys on the ground level, even though he's probably pumping tens of thousands, if not millions, into their bank accounts to keep them fat and fed while they fuck us in the ass. But Elon doesn't have that infrastructure, like, which is why he is likely to burn out, to blow out, or if depending on how far the oligarchy goes, he'll likely get taken over by Bezos and Zuck, like a hostile takeover of some kind. Like, it's very easy to leverage a man that is purely non-liquid assets. Where was I going with this? The point, the scale of it all. So he's one man dealing with his own personal empire, and he's high out of his mind, behaving like a child. He can't deal with it. I don't think any of us could really deal with it if we're thrusted into that situation, even if we didn't create it. It's jarring to stand on top of the world and look down and say, this is all mine. But in your heart, it shouldn't be. Like, you're there by happenstance and circumstance. Like, you're going to play God, and it's going to blow up in your face. And if it doesn't, like, that's even worse for many reasons. Let's finish this video.
These are actually really serious issues. Again, talking about Social Security, Russia. People don't like you. How do you feel about that? And it's like, I think he's on something. And then now this is actually kind of interesting.
Oh, I agree. But the thing is, remember, when he burns out, there's 800 billionaires in this country. And they're all horny to take his spot, especially Zuck and Bezos, Andreessen.
And even the host mentioned, what about
Peter
your
Thiel?
bodyguard
He's
situation?
ready. He's like, America's in a revolution, and we're going to take over. Palantir is like, wants to become
It's not that enormous.
what that military team for Russia is.
I mean, how concerned
The
are
one
you
that
about
were
your safety? Dylan, I mean,
Putin killed that guy.
You are a wanted man. Are you nervous?
So, look, I'm open to ideas for improving security, I have to tell you. I don't actually have a death wish, I think.
So for me, when I hear him talk that, I think he knows the threat is real. It's got to be real for him, right? If you're pissing off so many people, sure, get all those bodyguards. I get that. I totally get that, right? But I would rather live a life, and I would suggest this for you as well, live a life where you're not pissing off everyone all around the world and threatening their livelihoods. But this is how he deals with it. And then I guess he got a phone call. It was the world leader guy. Is it El Salvador? And is like, oh, what's going on with your security?
Wagner Group, the Wagner Group.
You know, it's not that easy.
Peter Thiel
but
wants to become like the Wagner Group of
even,
intelligence
people
for the U.S.
President Bukele from El Salvador. who-
And then he's going to do even
put in
more
prison,
heinous things.
Like 100,000,
He'll be the billionaire in charge of the city that allows to have gay people, basically. That's it. That's what I mean. Like, you're right. It is like a Hydra. Taxation is the ethical and indirect way of taking care of this. But at this point, like, if the Dems ever get to power, like, all 800 billionaires, including Taylor Swift, need to be arrested immediately. They need to be held at local facilities. They need to be all arrested, their assets seized, and they need to be immediately audited by a specialized strike force of auditors contracted by the IRS. And their assets need to be liquidated. If you want to leave them all with $1 billion, which I don't think is a good idea, I think it should be 100 million, do that. But like, their wealth needs to be seized from them, and again, just liquidated. They have no right to it. And them having it is a threat, is an economic threat to the survivability of this nation and, frankly, the world economy.
Bugs. And he was like, he called me, he's like, I'm worried about your security. I'm like, you're worried about my security?
Why is it just left on the floor? Fucking pick it up.
So it's kind of weird too. Then they start going on Fort Knox, and there's different ways you could read this. Does he want to go steal the money or the gold at Fort Knox? You could read it that way. Another one would be like, do you want to?
Dude, fucking Goldfinger is like
security
rolling in
system
his
to the world?
fucking
'Cause they're talking
grave
about,
over
hey,
this
let's
shit.
make a TV show inside Fort Knox. So generally, we don't ever show this kind of stuff. Like, what's your interest in gold? Or you know, I don't know.
It's
I don't-
money.
this one I don't know. It's weird. Or is this completely just a complete smokescreen and get us to talk about gold in Fort Knox, and maybe they'll run the stories on that. So we don't talk about his deflections on Russia, and we don't talk about his deflection on Social Security.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm tapped out on Chris. I wanna get some drama in me, and then I'm gonna end it with the crypto, and we're gonna call it a night. I'm tired. Let's see what Hasan had going on. We're streaming, watching a streamer, watching streams. Fucking internet, man.
Asmon ate this shit up so hard. Oh my god. They don't care necessarily. Like, Diddy Jeers or Destiny doesn't actually have like a real dog in this fight, right?
Well, yeah, like, there's 15 to 17 million vacant homes in America alone. We have 700,000 homeless. We can easily house all of them. I understand, like, you can't just put people in homes and be like, your homelessness is solved. But it's like, take those homes away from these people that are just sitting on them. Force them back on the market. List them at cost. Get Americans that are looking to buy homes. Put them in homes. And then again, like, food resources, basic material assets. Amazon has warehouses that when they get filled and it's the wrong product, like plasma screen TVs, laptops, and they can't offload them fast enough, they will take all of the product and dump it and put it into a ditch. It'll just completely go to waste instead of being reallocated to the rest of society that could use it and benefit from it. Because fuck us all, I guess.
Right? They just want to come after me. But in that process, they found an unlikely ally that does have some semblance of institutional legitimacy. Dude, this is awesome. We are major Reddit scoop. Investigation reveals extraordinary degree of astroturf, anti-capitalism, radical Marxist, Islamist propaganda on some of the biggest subreddits, including r/documentaries. Hasbara, baby. $150 million from Israel, baby. They're like, Reddit is the most pro-Israel platform out there.
Yes.
And like the random subreddits that aren't sucking the dick of the Israeli apartheid, they have to take it out. They literally have to destroy what remains. What any kind of criticism of Israel is completely unacceptable. Okay? The terrorist propaganda to Reddit pipeline, how an ultra-leftist network hijacks some of the biggest non-political subreddits to censor its ideological enemies and distribute terrorist propaganda. Asmon ate this shit up so hard. Oh my god. It's already been reposted in the subs. They're trying to astroturf this trash. Yeah, it's fantastic. There's like a select few subreddits out there where you can just be like, hey.
Steve Bannon did a fucking Sieg Heil at the CPAC. They're just doing it now. Like, it's just the Nazi party. Like, hey, red-blooded Republicans, better dead than red. What are you doing? You're Nazis now. What's going on? Fuck.
Hey, I think what Israel's doing is wrong without immediately being lasered. And they're like, nope, not enough. Not enough for us. Oh, they're gearing up for paid subscription for certain subreddits. That's how they will ban these anti-Israel subreddits. So many subreddits popular / not are so anti-Palestine, pro-censorship. It's insane to think the Palestine sentiment on Reddit is positive. Yeah. I love this, dude. I love the masquerading of like, anarchist. I love when anarchists come in and they're like, these guys are pro-terrorist actually. And let me tell you, they're misogynistic. It's actually not the left position and the progressive position to be pro-Palestine. It's actually the leftist position is actually to be pro-Israel. I'll have you know, Israel is very gay and very woke about women. Amazing. A Discord group has hijacked hundreds of subreddits, many of them with millions of followers, to censor its ideological enemies and distribute propaganda directly sourced from U.S. designated terror organizations such as Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, the Houthis, and many more. The subreddits the group now has control over are composed of central subreddits including r/Palestine, r/Israel crimes, and r/apartheid Israel, which are topically relevant and built around overlapping ideologies that include anti-capitalism, radical Marxism, Islamism, and anti-Western and pro-Iranian regime sentiment. Yeah. These are ideologies that overlap and definitely don't contradict, by the way. Yeah, Islamism and Marxism. Radical Marxism. But it's with a cluster of million-member strong subreddits infiltrated and now controlled by the network that have nothing to do with the Mideast, or even politics generally, that the r/Palestine network is particularly effective, illustrating an extraordinary degree of unambiguous astroturfing meant to convince unsuspecting users that there's a widespread anti-Israel, anti-Western Marxist movement online. These include, but aren't limited to, r/documentaries, 20 million members.
Oh no! Why can we be?
7.2 million.
Why would it be anti-Israel?
4.7 million.
Wonder why.
r/FAUMY.
Maybe it's the 500,000 dead Palestinians.
r/I am a total piece of shit, 2.1 million. Amazing. Yeah. An astonishing investigation by Ashley Rinsberg in Pirate Wires today reveals the full scope of the operation. I don't know how you say the how do you say this? I don't know how to say this. Fama? FOMA? Like drama but fake? Yeah. Better watch out. There's going to be a follow-up article saying that the Discord group is questioned as Hoscord and the ADL is sending hit squads to your house. Yeah. Yeah, it's a celebrity gossip subreddit, but they are consistently pro-Palestine. That subreddit is very pro-Palestine, but of course that's the reason why they're like, not allowed. Not allowed. You can't do that. We're coming after you. You can't even do a little bit of celebrity goss if you also have a, humane position on Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. It's also ironic because, one, they're obviously lying. Here's TrueAnon. The Reddit for fans of TrueAnon podcast is not controlled by a group of anybody. This writer is lying. In the r/TrueAnon subreddit, also controlled by the group, a user posted a screen grab of a message from the head of the Houthis posted in the group's Telegram channel. I call on America to send more MQ-9 drones as Yemeni air defenses enjoy grilling them. The same account previously posted a guide to Palestinian resistance groups posted by RNN, which features a screen grab of an explainer on Hamas's Al-Qassam brigades, which led to the October 7 atrocities broken down into sections. Who are they? Notable figures. Where are they most active? And their arsenal. That last line of the post, taken directly from RNN, reads, "Together we are united until liberation." Wow, I can't believe that a subreddit dedicated to the TrueAnon podcast would actually go through the Telegram channels and post screen grabs of what the Al-Qassam brigades are. Completely unacceptable. Anyway, this is ridiculous. It's an attempt to get the subreddit banned because two random people posted screenshots from a Poor Palestine Telegram channel on it within the past year. Yeah, look at this. Mohammed Ali al-Houthi, head of the Revolutionary Committee in Yemen. I call on America to send more MQ-9 drones as Yemeni air defenses enjoy grilling them. Lol them out. In a world of darkness, Yemen is a shining beacon. Guide to Palestine resistance groups posted by RNN. They posted these two posts. The subreddit needs to be banned immediately. Amazing. Neither of these people control the subreddit, so not sure what's going on with how this is phrased. Anyways, good job with the Reddit investigation, brother. Looking forward to the novel. Titled In the Heart of the jungle. It tells the story of a young man from a privileged background on the rise of the New York's. Oh, what the. Humiliating to have to mention our subreddit, but it's even worse to have the name of this nonpartisan small business mentioned in Pirate Wires. Pirate Wires is run by a Peter Thiel guy. Oh my God, I am shocked. Mike Solana, a Peter Thiel protege, has made his Pirate Wires newsletter a must-read among the anti-woke investor class. I sure hope no liberals are really eating up this very obviously designed pro-Israel propaganda here. I sure hope no liberals are eating this dick right now, like crazy style, hopping on it and bouncing on it, not realizing that this position right here from a right-wing libertarian charlatan directly involved with the Trump administration maybe has a lot to do, maybe it has the most to gain from undermining the limited amount of pro-Palestinian positions that exists on one of the most pro-Israel platforms out there. Yeah. What is this? Some other more amazing work? Wow, we should turn Guantanamo Bay into the next Hong Kong. Why the U.S. should use this perpetual lease on the Guantanamo Bay to turn it into a special economic zone. Nice. What is this? I said I would stop talking about it, but it's important. Below are screenshots of DGG chat logs admitting to openly brigading. The reason Dan Cultman's r/Hasan Piker Snark subreddit was removed due to them calling to mass harass Twitch staff and Twitch ads / media productions that speak to Hasan, all based on slanderous lies. H3 Snark, despite being weird to focus directly on Ethan's crash out, has strict rules in place. You can get banned for so much as mentioning a crew member's name. I think it's a weird sub, but in terms of breaking the rules, they don't. The main issue is I've been seeing
Hasan, let me in.
Limited any discussion or criticism of his content. He's alienated his fans and felt snubbed and found a place to air out their grievances on this criticism. But yeah, here the point is, they also actively inside of DGG will work to
Ethan Klein is
and
like
then claim that I'm doing that
lost
all the
his
time, and then point to the one instance where I tried to get banned from LSF. Yeah, their harassment of Twitch staffers is honestly one of the worst parts of their new hate campaign. I know, it was insane. It's crazy because like they don't care necessarily. Like DDGers or Sex Pestiny doesn't actually have like a real dog in this fight, right? They just want to come after me. But in that process, they found an unlikely ally that does have some semblance of institutional legitimacy. And that ally is pro-Israeli groups. Pro-Israeli groups operate in a very similar fashion to the way that Sex Pestiny's community operates, where they'll tarnish the reputation of people that are pro-Palestine, and they will go after their gainful employment. They will go at there's no end to what they will do. I mean, they literally had doxing trucks immediately after October 7 on college campuses. Remember how many people
wear a mask?
Bill Ackman personally
for anyone watching
wanted
this, like
jailed for
wear a
basically,
mask, please, for your own safety.
An article talking about Israel's apartheid and how it contributed to October 7 after October 7. An article that was almost identical to Haaretz's editorial board opinion. It also immediately after October 7. Yeah. There's been so much unhinged. You can do whatever the you want in terms of like, defending Israel, and none of that even reaches public consciousness. People don't go, what the is this? Unless they directly are impacted by it or maybe see it. On the off chance that they see it. Can we go one day without drama frogs derailing the stream? I don't think this is necessarily just drama frogs derailing the stream, because I think this is a very deliberate attempt to try to silence criticism of Israel on the remaining the remaining pro-Palestine subreddits. Okay, that's very obviously what's going on here. It's not just like drama. It's Hasbara that Israel paid for, by the way. Anyway, yeah, the guy who wrote the article is a PragerU presenter. Wow, shocking.
God damn
Ashley Rinsberg is an American novelist, media commentator, essayist, and journalist based in Israel. Rinsberg.
That's ambitious thinking, Patrick. I don't think we can have that in this country. I'm going to end the stream here. I'm exhausted. I'm more tired than even I thought I would be. But this is a good stream. Patrick, I appreciate your contributions. I'll invite you along the next time. I don't know. I might do one this weekend. I don't see myself doing one tomorrow night. I'm crashing into this weekend. But maybe Saturday or Sunday night. I'm very inconsistent until I get a real like fan base going, which is why I re-upload all these videos to my YouTube for future viewing, and also like historical record keeping of like the downfall of American society. So, thanks again for coming in, buddy. I appreciate it. I'll see you around. Like I said, I'll send you an invite next time. Hopefully we can get a bigger crowd going. But yeah, thanks again, man. I'll hit you up
If
later.
you had a good time, like and subscribe.